Hello, everyone. Good to have you with us. Welcome to Live Racing on this Sunday card from Aqueduct Racetrack, Oaklawn Park in Tampa Bay Downs. Great to have you with us on our Sunday Fox Sports 1 coverage. And the sun shining today after a very wet Saturday afternoon that forced the cancellation of the Saturday card here in New York. That entire card moved to today. And we have our feature coming up. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Wolf. The feature today is the Biagio Rose, where Security Code will try and make it 3 in a row. After a very narrow victory last time out, she held off the late-charging Venti Valentine, who just missed against her in that Broadway last month. Those two will meet again in that feature coming up this afternoon. Let's take a look at the field that will line up in the Biagio's Rose. Security Code from the inside post, so she'll try and make it 3 straight, 7-2 morning line. A couple of scratches in this race, including Lady Mine. It would have been very interesting in here. She won't compete today. With me, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling, and Security Code on a nice roll right now. What do you make of her chances today?
Well, I have to think they're good. She seems to show up and run a competitive race every time she runs. The extra furlong is a question. She hasn't been able to do that. She hasn't really tried to do it. She draws inside, which shouldn't be a big problem. She should be somewhat forwardly placed in this race. Venti Valentine, her chief rival, though, she's more accomplished at the mile distance, and it could be the equalizer in here that gives her a chance to turn the tables. It was a close decision last time, but I think Venti Valentine had every chance to win the race and just came up second best that day. Security Code, you cannot knock her consistency. I actually am going to try to beat both of them with Bustin' Bay, but I do believe they are the major players in there. But the mile might give Venti Valentine the edge in the rematch.
Yeah, Venti Valentine on the outside here. She was the 5-horse in this race. 4 for 7 at this mile distance, so she will get that extra furlong today to try and run down Security Code in the rematch coming up. That'll be the 7th race on today's card. We're immediately upon the 4th coming up to kick off the Late Pick 5 on the Sunday card.
We are, and it's actually an interesting claiming race. I'm looking at it right now. The entry is 2-1, and in my opinion, they're a little bit overbet. It's the old 2 for the price of 1, and I kind of prefer the one who would be a longer price, Blake B, of the 2. I'm interested in the number 4, Durkin's Call, reclaimed by Linda Rice, who's done well in the past. Linda took a very, very tough beat in race 3 when she finished second with the best horse, and maybe this time she'll get it done with a horse who probably a little more forward as he drops down off the claim. I like him, but it's a competitive race.
$12,000 claiming race, all for sale for that price in a 1-turn mile that starts this Late Pick 5 wager over $220,000 in that pool. And it is the entry favored here at 2-1. Blake B will break second to the outside. His entry mate, Pit Boss, on the outside as well. So the 1 and 1A break all the way toward the outside.
I think they're betting more on Pit Boss, the 1A, and I guess that makes some sense. But I actually let Blake be a little sneaky. But one day they'll get rid of entries, and it will be good for all players, as it does not benefit players to not get a choice of who they want to bet on. But I'll take the number 4, Durkin's Call, 7-2.
Chris Griffin with the call to kick things off on our Sunday coverage.
There's Daddy Knows, Pit Boss. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Funkenstein broke well, so did towards the inside there Goldini in the early mix, and there's Goldini with Prince of Joy in the orange cap. Out wider, that's going to be Pit Boss, who's trying to join these leaders as they line up on the front end. Just behind them is Daddy Knows, tightly bunched. Also progressing forward there comes Blake B from out of the pack. Still tightly bunched, but Pit Boss is the leader. Pit Boss is in front. It's Daddy Knows, who moves to the inside here of Prince of Joy. Out wider there is going to be Blake B, is progressing in the red cap, and at the rail is Goldini. 5 across the racetrack right now. Taking off the early tempo there came Phoebe's Frosty. Following them, that's going to be Durkin's Call, who's now going to ride the rail. Just had to check, a little tough to handle there. Is followed to the outside by Funkenstein, who broke with the leaders, but is now going to be mid-pack towards the back end of the field. You've got Wild Banker and the trailer. That's Forever Wicked. 23-4, and still 4 across the racetrack. Goldini is holding that rail position. Right there is Daddy Knows, is in the 2 path with a head in front. Here comes the run from Pit Boss. Blake B wanted to get over to the rail and did. Is tracking into the 4 spot. Losing ground quickly there is Prince of Joy. Progressing forward, Durkin's Call is now taken 5th. Is in behind those leaders. Funkenstein is wider. Down at the rails, Phoebe's Frosty. Wild Banker. The trailer continues to be Forever Wicked. 47-1 for the half-mile time as they reach the top of the stretch, and Goldini is kicked on. Goldini Dini is there. Here comes the run from Daddy Knows, and now splitting rivals is Blake B. Blake B is emerging as the danger. Funkenstein from out of it. Also Durkin's Call, grandstand side. Goldini is still gutting it out towards the inside. It's Goldini approaching the 16th. Blake B is trying to push on by. Same thing for Daddy Knows, but it's Goldini. Manny Franco, Goldini gets the score. Goldini over Blake B. Then came Daddy Knows. Trying to hold on there for fourth was Durkin's Call with an oncoming Funkenstein and Wild Banker. And woman at 37 and 3.
Goldini had been beat by quite a few of these pretty recently, in fact, this time able to turn the tables.
Yeah, hadn't been in the winner's circle and going on close to a year now, and not a horse who seems to get it done. But he got the job done today. A switch to Manny Franco did the difference as he gets it done in a mild upset. I was right that Blake B was the better half of the entry, but he still wasn't good enough. And tell you what, Kendrick gave an excellent ride to Durkin's Call, and it looked like he had a very good shot to go by them all in the stretch, and he came up completely empty.
9-2 start here in this late pick 5. Manny Franco, Rudy Rodriguez, and the 6-year-old. Yeah, it's been quite some time coming. First win since back on May 20th of 2023 for this horse. And again, beats several who had sort of been taking turns beating him the last few starts. 6-year-old back in the winner's circle at a price to start things off here as we work our way to that Biagio's Rose. It is Florida Cup Day out at Tampa Bay Downs, and we decided to send Rajiv Mirage there to join in the festivities. Your partner. He's sad you're not together today with that Jamaica coverage was so good.
No day goes by when I'm sad that I don't see Rajiv. And how come you're always in the warm places, Raj?
Well, I'm happy to be here. It's nice and warm. Wish you were here, Andy, but I'll have to take it by myself now. It's Florida Cup Day here at Tampa Bay Downs, which means we have 5 stake races to come, all Florida bred restricted. So it's a kind of day where these Florida breds can start making some impact and try to decide who's going to be the best Florida breds.
A little worried that we sent a Jamaica bred down to cover Florida bred racing. I don't know, Raj. It doesn't really work out just because you live down there. Have you had any success at Tampa Bay? I believe that's where you kicked off your career.
Yeah, this feels almost like a bit of a homecoming for me, right? 20 years ago, I won my first career race as a jockey at Tampa Bay Downs. So it's a place that's really special to me, and I'm happy to be here bringing some races to you guys.
Well, we're glad to have you there. Some very good races coming up, including we'll have a lot more with Raj coming up later in the show. That Naurabet Sprint, it looks like Mish is just a complete standout in this race. I guess
agree.
you can make a case for Dean Delivers, but Mish is in tremendous form in a race coming up for Saffie Joseph Jr.
And I think drawing towards the outside helps his chances as well as he gets in that good spot with a little bit of other speed in here inside of him. And Dean Delivers is kind of under the gun breaking from post 2. And while he's obviously talented, as you said, I agree with you about Mish. He's going to be tough to beat.
All right, we look forward to that one coming up. Let's take a look at everything that's ahead here on our Fox Sports 1 coverage on this Sunday afternoon, presented by Claiborne Farm. So races 5 through 8 still to come here in New York, including that Biagio's Rose. We're fast here in New York, fast at Oaklawn, where we'll bring you races 4 through 9, and fast and firm at Tampa Bay. A lot more coming up with Raj, including that race we just talked about, the Naurabet Sprint, Turf Classic, and Distaff's Turf, all ahead on Florida Cup Day out at Tampa Bay Downs. You can play it all by getting signed up and started right there at Naurabets. The offer, most of you know by now, there it is, that $200 deposit match, new customer bonus. Punch that in at sign up for new members, bonus $200, and you're ready to roll right there at naurabets.com. We're going to take a timeout, take a look at the 3-year-old picture. It was an important day on the road to the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. From last to first in the Louisiana Derby, and Brad Cox gets some more Derby depth. Endlessly earns a spot in the Derby. He may be favored on Derby Day, but not in the race you think. Back with you on our Sunday FS1 coverage. Brought to you in part by Naira Bets, where you can play all the action. Go to nairabets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. It was a big Saturday on the road to the Kentucky Derby with a couple of 100-point races, the first of those 100-point races to get into the starting gate for the winner of these. And for Catching Freedom, last to first in the Louisiana Derby.
Yeah, and it felt like this was a race that really set up well for the closers. As first two finishers came from well back here. They were moving up front. That was a very honest pace. And frankly, I think the track Phantom did well to finish fourth. The third place finisher, Tuscan Gold, he was wide and on the pace the whole way as well, ran well. But Catching Freedom, a horse that we saw win in Kentucky, in Oaklawn, and had run a respectable race in his prior start in the Risen Star, he got the pace he needed and he had the run down the stretch. And it just feels like Brad Cox, he is just dominating these preps in a way that Todd Pletcher had done in the past, also with the fillies as well, winning the Fairgrounds Oaks the race before that, and having her and Impel perhaps going towards Kentucky Oaks. He could be in a very big position to have a huge weekend.
Early on in the stretch, too, I mean, the runner-up, Honor Maria, kind of pushed this horse even further out into the stretch. Brad Cox had made some minor adjustments with this horse to try and straighten him out. Whatever he did certainly worked.
Yeah, he got a 97 buyer, which right now puts him sort of near the top of the horses, but it's also the first prep. We'll see who else is taking a step forward. You have to like the effort he put in. How good these horses end up being, well, they really took advantage of the dynamics of the race. If this Kentucky Derby comes up with a fast pace like it did last year, you have to think the first two finishers both could be contenders in the Derby.
Meanwhile, Turfway Park on synthetic. Of course, the Kentucky Derby run on dirt. This was the Jeff Ruby Stakes, and endlessly for Michael McCarthy. He says this horse is just so professional, and everything seems to come so easy to him.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Mike McCarthy, who was years ago an assistant for Todd Pletcher, but he should really be just discussed on his own merits. And we saw him win the Preakness with Rombauer a few years ago. Excellent trainer, and I love the fact that after the race, he said his next race will be the American Turf on Derby Day. He is not playing the Derby. He is a turf horse, and thus able to be effective on synthetic as well. And I love the fact that he has a horse that has the Derby points to get in there, but he says, I'm not going to run a horse in the Derby. He's not going to do well in there. I want to keep him doing what he can do well.
Small caveat. He said if it's up to him. So he's got to convince the owners, obviously.
I hope that he's able
like that's
to.
The plan.
Because the very best owners are the ones that hire trainers that they believe in. And he's an excellent trainer and a very smart guy. And the reality is, I know Animal Kingdom won. I know two Phils last year. Maybe he should have won the Derby. But two Phils had dirt for him going into it. And the reality is, they're one horse out of this race. The second place finisher will probably finish 18th, is going to run in the Kentucky Derby. Now, I actually think West Saratoga ran very well in this race, but they're not Derby contenders.
And you look at the pedigree of this horse, too. It screams turf. That's where he belongs.
Top and bottom.
Sounds like that's where he is going to stay. So, yeah, very good horse on synthetic and on turf. Those surfaces could play very similar. Maybe he'll be the favorite in that.
And we look forward to seeing him in the Belmont Derby here, hopefully, at Aqueduct, and then the Saratoga Derby at Saratoga. These are lucrative, Grade 1 races, and I think the way he understands what he can do, and so why he has the second most points, I don't think it's going to matter.
Kentucky Derby leaderboard there presented by Spendthrift, so the 200-point winners vault to the top of that leaderboard. The big still 100-point races still to come. It's going to be a very important weekend next weekend as we bring in Maggie Wolfendale. Maggie, what do you think of this performance from Catching Freedom?
Well, Catching Freedom, as Andy pointed out, was kind of with the flow of the race, right, Greg? But sometimes that can be a good thing when you're a closer heading and running for the Roses. As we saw last year, Mage was able to take advantage of a hot pace that wasn't necessarily projected to be there on paper, but it does often materialize when you're dealing with 20 horses going to post. And Catching Freedom, he certainly has that patented late run, kind of bringing Honor Marie with him, wondering what that horse will do next. But I thought a good second effort off of the layoff for Whit Beckman. But again, Catching Freedom, Brad Cox, an embarrassment of riches when it comes to three-year-old picture, including boys and girls, as Andy was talking about with the Oaks contenders too. But I like Catching Freedom. I do agree, though, that, as you guys said, we still have 2 big weekends and a lot more to see to develop this Kentucky Derby picture. Guys.
Yeah, a lot will be determined when we run that Arkansas Derby. We'll have live coverage coming up next weekend, the Wood Memorial in New York in early April. Let's get out to Oaklawn right now and out in Hot Springs. 6-furlong sprint coming up in the 4th. $12,000 conditioned claiming race in Essential Business. Steve Asmussen, son Keith, teaming up on the 6-5 favorite.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know if he should be 6-5. Why is he so much like? Why is the 9 8-1 and this horse 6-5? I want to hear what Paulie thinks.
Yeah, it's Music Man Sandy, another contender. And let's bring in Paulie. And of course, Paul, big 3-year-old race getting set to take place, which we'll have live coverage of next weekend. That was just drawn earlier today.
Yeah, obviously the Arkansas Derby is going to be very key because obviously what we saw from Catching Freedom yesterday, and he was so good here in the Smarty Jones. And I think also too with Catching Freedom, I think a lot of people don't realize they kind of had to freeze out here. He missed a little bit of training before the Risen Star, so you might have saw the real Catching Freedom. But here, what you're seeing, Mystic Dan gets, you know, the worst of the draw, obviously, and Timberlake gets the best of the draw. And those are the two horses that they're going to focus on. I do think Time for Truth and is the long shot that will get played for Ron Moquette, who's been impressive. But then what do you do with the Bob Baffert runner and Muth? 8-5 on the morning line. So it looks like they're betting, you know, 3 horses, and, you know, all 3 quality horses. I still think the Lucas horse is quality, just doesn't want to go that long, and when they cut Just Steel back, he's going to be a monster. Okay, on to race number 4. We got a 9-race card, so if you want to play the pick 5, that will start in the next race. So if we can make a little money here, you know, you look at the 3 essential business at 6-5. When you look at the numbers are just really, really good. And I kind of with Andy, I'm like, I'm on both sides of the fence here. I just don't know at 6-5. I do think there's some other horses in here that are kind of dangerous, like the 6 Northern Diamond. Thomas Van Berg's having a monster meet, and this mare, 0 for 13 at Oaklawn. That's the biggest, obviously, you know, thing that you don't want to see. I don't know if it's a diamond on the rest of the field, but the 3 is going to be tough to beat here, Greg. I will throw out one horse. The 9 in here, I'm with Andy. If the 9 can clear the 5, this horse can get dangerous. It depends when Carlos Barbosa gets aggressive with the 5, because like the 9, I think, is this speed of the speed, but with the lightweight on Barbosa, we'll see what happens. But if the 9 clears, this horse could steal this race. She could steal it.
Yeah, it's Music Man Sandy, very quick 4-year-old filly who is dropping down in class. Matt Dinnerman with the call. Here's the 4th from Oaklawn.
One back, Lady Astrid. We're ready to go. And Lay Off. Good beginning for all the runners. Diva Treva out for the lead. Check Cashing Connie away in the 2nd spot with Music Man Sandy. Miss Distinctive between horses and a deep Lady Astrid in the orange jacket. Not far off, easing off the speed to stalk the pace about 2 lengths behind. A length further back to another pair. Awesome View and Essential Business. They're 4 better than Northern Diamond. And War Music, the gray, is at the back of the field with a half mile to go. Diva Treva and Carlos Barbosa approach the 4 turn run. Clears off on the rail and leads by a length and a half now. Music Man Sandy comes out of the crowd to take 2nd. Check Cashing Connie retreats to 3rd. Lady Astrid already under pressure. Miss Distinctive still between horses right now. 4 behind as they round the turn, and then comes Essential Business. Needs to turn it around to win it. Diva Treva appears to be going comfortably on the front end and swings off the quarter. 2 ahead of Music Man Sandy in the 2nd position. Diva Treva kicking on now. Diva Treva 3 lengths ahead with a furlong to go. Music Man Sandy in 2nd, just trying to hold that spot at this point. Miss Distinctive is next, but Diva Treva went right to the lead and she just never stopped. Diva Treva for the Travis Murphy barn wins it by 5. Essential Business flew home late just for 2nd though. 3rd home Miss Distinctive, and then More Music from the back who got 4th.
That lightweight Paul had talked about. Diva Treva gets in carrying just 109 pounds, all alone on the front end and goes gate to wire.
Well, I think what Paulie and I both thought was the 9 would actually try for the lead, and when the rider, the 9, had absolutely no interest in being in front, restraining his horse the whole way, he allowed Diva Treva, who in my opinion is very hard to make, even though she's dropping down in here, but she gets in front because the 9 didn't want to press her at all, and she was able to control in the front end.
5th career win, Diva Treva. On the drop down in class, we'll get you back to Florida Cup Day. And the sophomore turf coming up when we return on our live coverage here on Fox Sports 1. We'll be back.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
$140, $140, $140, $140,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Back on our Sunday coverage, America's Day of the Races, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. We'll get you out to Tampa Bay Downs. Florida Cup Day coverage. And the Equistaff Sophomore Turf. $110,000 purse. 3-year-old Florida breds going a mile and 16th on the grass. And let's bring in Rajiv Mirage. Rajiv, prevent in here. 5-1 right now, getting on the turf for the second time. What's the plan with this horse today?
Well, this race is definitely shaping up to be a cat and mouse game early. Prevent with Edgar Zayas and You Wish with Paco Lopez, the number 7. I spoke with Brian Cohen, who owns the 5, Prevent, and he said this horse only runs well when he's on the lead. And he's a pretty fast horse, like he showed earlier in the pulpit stake, going a half in 45. And You Wish is coming out of sprint races where he was running half miles in 43. So he's a really quick horse stretching out for the first time. If they get into too much of a tussle, which is a very highly likely scenario, then it might set up for someone like Crystal Quest, the number 3 with Javier coming from behind. So a lot of this race is going to be determined on what Edgar and Paco decides to do early on.
I feel like the 7's probably faster than the 5. Isn't the number 2, Ninja Star, a bit of an overlay at 6-1? Why can't he be the one to pick up the pieces? Is the 3, Crystal Quest, really better than him?
I feel like Crystal Quest is the better of the closers, and if there was a pace meltdown, he would be the one to capitalize most on it. With the number 2, he's a horse that always runs good, but he seems to have a tendency to come close to winning, but not quite seal the deal. And I think if it comes down to a really close race in the end between the 2 and the 3, I think the 3 horse will be able to win in a narrow margin.
I disagree, Raj. Not only do I think the prices are ridiculous here, but also Ninja Star lost to Full Nelson twice, who's a pretty good horse and came back and improved his buyer figure 10 points off his last race. And Wally World ran second is a Chad Brown horse that we've seen run a stake race here back in the fall. I think Ninja Star hasn't won his turf races. He's 1 for 3. His other losses are because he ran against better horses. I have no idea why the 3 is even money and the 6 is 2-1. I wonder if it's a little bit has to do with Javier riding the 3.
Well, yes, definitely. Javier, his style of riding seems to suit this kind of race. He's a more patient jockey, and he's a Hall of Famer, so that has a lot to do with it, I think. And I do agree with you. They should be a bit closer in price. However, on the top, I would pick Crystal Quest over the 2.
And the public agrees. Thank you, Raj. Crystal Quest, the 3 with Javier Castellano, won the Derby and the Belmont Stakes last year. What an incredible year for the Hall of Famer. Short price on this 3-horse here for Michael Trombetta. Let's go to Jason Beam for the call, the sophomore turf.
The outside draw. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Equistaff sophomore turf. Prevent set hard for early speed, goes right out to the front between horses Lord Knows and from the outside And You Wish. So the 3 outside runners quickest here, and they quickly open up 3.5 or so on Ninja Star, Crystal Quest, who are back in that 4th and 5th position. At the back early on is Leaders Jazz. But Prevent, Edgar Zayas wanted the lead, and he has it as they run toward that first turn. Prevent in front by 2.5, almost 3 now to Lord Knows. And You Wish, Paco works that one over to the inside fence, now 3rd. Crystal Quest right alongside in 4th now, saddles up. It's another length then back to Ninja Star. Leaders Jazz last. 23-1 the opening quarter mile. Prevent takes him on to the back stretch, and the sophomore turf in front lets it out a notch now by 4.5. Lord Knows a clear-cut second. 2 more then back to the 2 favorites. And You Wish on the inside of Crystal Quest. They're racing as a team back 3rd and 4th. They're 2 clear of Ninja Star. Lena's Jazz still trails. Just less than a half mile to go. Prevent 47-4 the opening half mile time. Prevent has built up a 5.5, 6 length advantage now. Lord Knows still second. And You Wish third. Crystal Quest given the cue on the outside 4th to try to go after that lonely leader as they have just under 3 furlongs left to go. Prevent the lead down to 3.5 now. Getting closer. Lord Knows. And You Wish stays toward the inside. Crystal Quest, that lead for Prevent is evaporating. Prevent just in front, but company is coming. Lord Knows. And You Wish in a tight spot between horses there. Ninja Star's made up some good ground. In behind horses, Crystal Quest going to wheel toward the outside. A final furlong left to go. Prevent tries to dig in. Crystal Quest, Ninja Star going to dive down toward the fence. Prevent is still there. Crystal Quest on the outside. Crystal Quest hits the front. Prevent back to second. Crystal Quest and Javier Castellano to win the sophomore turf. Prevent ran a big one there in second. Ninja Star was third. And You Wish fourth.
Crystal Quest at a short price under Javier Castellano makes it 3 wins in a row.
Well, the public was right. If Javier had ridden the 2 and the rider of the 2 had ridden the 3, I think the 2 would have won this race. But the 2, for some reason, decided to get jammed up inside a horse is not the way you want to ride a closer. But Javier kept the 3 out in the clear, was able to run down the 5. What was the plan with And You Wish, who's in paces where they're going 43 and change, and he wasn't even second early?
That was shocking.
That really helped him because he did well.
Wow.
Why was he even in the race?
Best weapon is speed, chose not to use it. We get back to New York. 5th race, started the late pick 4 New York breds, allowance optional claiming 1 turn mile coming up.
Some very good non-winners are one New York bred race.
And there is the favorite, St. Gaudens for Chad Brown. Just broke his maiden at the mile distance by 6.5 lengths with an equipment change that day, added blinkers.
I think he's going to be very, very tough to beat. He's fast and he's good. I am not discounting some of the others near. That's Money ran well first time out. I'm trying to beat him. Big Torpedo, I think, is going to run better. I know Maggie likes Liberty Central in here, but St. Gaudens, the artist, and he's a horse too. And of course, Peter Brannon was a great interest in the arts world, naming this horse for St. Gaudens. If you have a St. Gaudens gold piece, you got a little money in your pocket right there. This one's a good horse, and I think he's going to run very, very well today.
And we see him dominating this group. Today's going to be a lot tougher task than that win,
no
obviously.
Question. No question, but he's good.
This will be his first test against winners. There he is, 6-5. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
St. Gaudens, he looks spectacular in the flesh. But let's talk about the horse who's your second choice right now. That's number 4, That's Money. As he'll stretch out in distance, and watching that debut, it's almost like Connections knew that he might be okay going short and get the job done, but that ultimately he'd want to go longer. As Kendrick Carmouche, who is usually a rider who, pulls his horses up quite readily after a race, really asked this guy to gallop out. So kind of adding to that performance and adding to the fitness levels that he gained out of that debut, because they know they want to go longer with him. And I like Todd Pletcher with this move. He looks physically like a horse that would appreciate more ground. So he is intriguing here. As we'll move on to the horse that I'm going to ultimately land on just for the sake of a better price at 6-1 is number 7, Liberty Central. This horse has really come a long way. A horse who used to act up at the gate, didn't break well, left himself too much to do, wouldn't switch leads. He's really resolved all that, and Pat Quick's done an excellent job with him. He does go out and is accompanied by the pony throughout the preliminaries here, but he's really gotten fit and very athletic, and I thought arguably while Pandagate Best may have run the best race in defeat behind him. So we'll see how those horses do coming out of the Gander. Number 9, Just Step on It. Talking about the pace in here, this guy never kind of got to lead, stayed on the rail down at Parks over that sloppy racetrack, wasn't really given the best shot. But furthermore, he gets Lasix back today, and arguably his Lasix races 2 and 3 back are by far the best of his career, both wins. And Trevor McCarthy really warmed him up aggressively. So look for Just Step on It to be forwardly placed in here to give him the best shot at getting a piece of this, Greg, at 10-1.
All right, Maggie, thanks. We're going to load up here shortly. 6-5, St. Gaudens. You talk about the Pletcher horse stretching out, too. That's money. So one start going 6 furlongs. They think longer is going to be better for this horse, so inexperienced, but we'll see if more ground helps.
Yeah, I mean, I picked him third. I won't be shocked if he wins in here. I prefer St. Gaudens of him. I just think he feels like probably a little bit better horse, but I'm not going to knock him off his first race. Todd Pletcher has solid percentages stretching horses out off maiden wins. The ROI is low because they're frequently short prices. On the other hand, at 5-2, you're getting paid a little bit, so it's not really bad. Chad Brown has exceptional numbers for what it's worth. Off a maiden win in a dirt route at Naira, he's 28 for 73, 38% with a $2.02 ROI. Whereas if you look at a similar number for Todd Pletcher, stretching out off maiden wins, he's just 6 for 27 with a $1 ROI at Naira. So these horses have run better for Chad. That doesn't mean it won't be the case here. I think Maggie's husband's horse, the Big Torpedo, is interesting here. I know he ran his best race on a wet track, but it's not like he's run badly in his other races. And I think there's an argument you didn't want to be on the rail last time, and that might have affected his chances last time. I think he's going to run much better here, and he's a big price at 9-1.
Yeah, 9-1. He got a very big figure, too, when he dominated that group on that muddy sealed track 2 starts ago when he won by 10 lengths. Comes out of a stakes race where he was forward again. Pace-wise, what do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I think St. Gaudens has to go. It depends how much pressure Cancel puts Big Torpedo, and I imagine that's money supposed to go as well. But considering the speed that St. Gaudens had last time, I have to think he's going to be forwardly placed again.
Even money now on that dominant maiden winner last time out for Chad Brown. Very short price as we see the 2 King Freud about to step in from the inside post. 4-horse stats money for Todd Pletcher. Just start number 2, and now a stretch out from 6 furlongs to a mile coming up off an impressive debut where he's a little bit wide that afternoon. And, you know, it's Park Shipper, Just Step on It, who Maggie touched on a bit. The start on a faster track 2 back. Got a very big figure for that.
It got a big figure from Beyer. It doesn't really match up in Time From US as well with horses that ran the race, but it was a fast, good number, and you know maybe he just ran better on a dry track that day. And I see the horse who beat him last time, Lonesome Boy. I know he's being discussed as a possible runner in our Wood Memorial.
And a rider off, was that Jose Gomez, I believe?
I believe it was.
Yeah, on Liberty Central.
Getting back on. It's got a little bump there from the other horse going in outside of him. Liberty Central will be interesting. If he runs well in here, maybe it gives Pandagate a chance to be in the Super at Dubai. If he doesn't, can they ship him back?
Andy, not a fan of that move.
Surprising.
Going move to the UAE for Pandagate. Here we go with the start of the pick 4. It's St. Gaudens, the 6 for Chad Brown, the big favorite. Chris Griffin, the call.
Sugar's Last Hope. Goes in. Liberty Central just acting up a touch. All set. And they're off. Liberty Central breaks very well. Brown doesn't stop, was off slowly. That's Money is in the early mix, and towards the outside, here comes the Big Torpedo, is in that early fray with Just Step on It from the far outside. That's Money, Kendra Carmouche, they battle on here with Just Step on It as these two out of the chute. The Big Torpedo is in between rivals now. Rein back in, is back to third. St. Gaudens now emerges, and St. Gaudens is going to take that spot that the Big Torpedo backed out of, and now makes it 3 across the racetrack. There at the rail comes King Freud, who's now challenging for 4th. There's the Big Torpedo, switches towards the outside, is in the 4-path. That's going to drift out. Liberty Central out in the center of the racetrack is now in 5th. Retail Man, Yellow Silks is moving from the back end of the field. Second to last is Brown Don't Stop, and the trailer, Sugars, Last Hope, 23.45 for the opening quarter mile. They work into the far turn and went 46.4 for the half-mile time. That's Money, and St. Gaudens right towards the outside is ready to challenge. The Big Torpedo didn't want a piece of the early action, is now back for more, has taken third to the inside here of Just Step on It. The Big Torpedo switches to the outside. Retail Man is down at the inside here rallying on. Liberty Central in the pink cap from the back. Brown Don't Stop, and still King Freud far back to Sugar's Last Hope. That's Money has not given up the lead yet. That's Money. St. Gaudens is right towards the outside, and here comes the Big Torpedo down the center of the racetrack. It's St. Gaudens now brushing there with the Big Torpedo. The Big Torpedo has taken the lead. That's Money battles on towards the inside. It's the Big Torpedo. That's Money back in front. That's Money. The Big Torpedo. These two down to the line. Late run Liberty Central. That's Money. Very game and wins. That's Money over the Big Torpedo. Then came Liberty Central and St. Gaudens in 1 minute 36.4.
That's Money stretching out now 2 for 2. A win sprinting in the debut. Stretches out to a mile and holds off a big late run from the Big Torpedo.
And I think the early part of the race had a lot to do with the later part. Whether it was an intention not to be aggressive with St. Gaudens or whether he had trouble early, I don't know. But you saw Kendrick with a distinctive plan to be aggressive with the 4, whereas St. Gaudens, not really right there early, had to rush up to engage him. Now, he had every chance to beat him, and he wasn't as good as him today. It looked like the Big Torpedo, who I liked, was coming on the outside and might be able to get it, but somehow the 4 just came back on and got the win. And I thought the 7 did run well in here, Liberty Central. He didn't have the best of trips.
He's wide throughout. 4, 8, 7, 6. Even Money favorite winding up 4th, 5 to 2 on That's Money, who's now 2 for 2. Winning here on the stretch out for Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher in the silks of Robert LaPenta with Kendrick Carmouche. And yeah, they were aggressive early with this horse. You saw the 6 horse St. Gaudens come out to try and meet that challenge of the Big Torpedo. He kept coming, though.
Well, one of the things that made Todd Pletcher successful is the same thing that made his former boss, Wayne Lucas, successful. They are not afraid to be aggressive, especially on the dirt. And being passive on the dirt is a mistake in general. If you have horses that have forward speed on the dirt, use it. And use it to your advantage. They don't all have to rate, and they're all not better rating.
Trainer out on the West Coast who knows that pretty well.
Yeah.
By the name of Bob Baffert. That's Money. 2 for 2 now, taking the 5th here at Aqueduct. Well, the prices set up the 6th when we continue along on our Fox Sports 1 coverage. Back with you on our Fox Sports 1 coverage on America's Day at the Races. We just had a New York bred winner. That's money. Great way to describe being part of this New York bred program. 19% increase in New York bred maiden purses coming in 2026. Never been a better time to have a New York bred foal. For information on how to qualify your foal, go to NYRA.com/NYBreds. That's money. Has been money. 2 for 2 now for Todd Pletcher, winning at 6 furlongs and now wins stretching out to a mile.
Yeah, no, he did. Got the job done. A good aggressive ride by Kendrick. Getting it done, stretching out to get the win. Something St. Gaudens not able to get the win. He wasn't stretching out, but he wasn't able to. And he passed the test, and the non-winners a 1. Tough beat for the big torpedo at a big price in there. No major excuse, but a tough beat nonetheless. A little bit of trouble early maybe for Liberty Central.
It was wide throughout, too.
Yeah, but I also want to watch again. I thought he may have had a little trouble early. I had to watch it because he seemed a little farther back than he should have been. So this race does flatter Pandegate.
Yeah,
well, I mean, the big torpedo, as I said before the race, was on the rail last time, which probably wasn't the place to be, and he ran back to his good race the time before that. He was too big a price at 10-1.
So you believer now that the UA Derby within his sights for Pandegate?
No, he has no chance over there.
$7.
This race did at least flatter that race.
20 cents for the win for That's Money, and we keep bringing that up because, yes, Liberty Central.
We're rooting for him, but
ran third behind Pandegate in the Gander last time out, and Pandegate New York bred will be going to the UAE Derby for Christophe Clement.
Yeah, listen, I hope he does well, obviously. You know, they're part of the family, but
unusual path,
yeah,
to say the least. Early pick 5 ends there, over $1,400. Late pick 4 began with that 4-horse. That's money. We have more coming up on Florida Cup Day from Tampa Bay Downs. The Naira Bets Sprint. There's a look at Bouncer for Marcassi coming back off the bench, but it's Much, the horse to beat. We'll have more on this race when we come back.
Cross-country Pick 5 combines the best racing from New York with top races from around the country in one bet. Find it in your track menu and play every race day. Races are posted weekly at NYRA.com/cross-country. General admission tickets are on sale now for the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival at Saratoga, June 6th through 9th. Admission is just $10 on Thursday as well as on Sunday for this historic event. Visit BelmontStakes.com/tickets today.
Introducing Giftbox, winner of the Grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap. He's a 3-time graded stakes-winning millionaire with 4 triple-digit buyers and a 4 Ragazin to his name. He proved himself early as a graded stakes place 2-year-old, and now his career as a stallion is just getting started. From the first crop of the leading sire Twirling Candy out of a multiple graded stakes producing mare. Giftbox, only at Lane's End.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back on our Sunday FS1 coverage, America's Day at the Races. We take you to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and the start of the late pick 5 on the Sunday program. 6 furlong sprint. $25,000 claiming race. Non-winners of a race since December 7th of last year. We start with Mega Tap.
Has been off 8 months, coming in from Prairie Meadows and turning back in distance. Probably will need one.
Windcracker for the Sharp Barn, Carl Broberg.
Another horse cutting back in distance. Carl Broberg's stats cutting back are just okay.
Mike Maker barn. This horse moving to his barn from Robertino Diodoro flags up.
Yeah, not an owner's change, just a trainer change for this one. And Mike Maker's numbers overall, trainer change the dirt, not very good.
Biggest price on the board. This is Deflator.
He would deflate a lot of people if he were to win this race, but
not hit the
not
board
everybody
in a long time. Here's the 6 at 8-1 Circleback Jack.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the big deal is with this horse. He's even 8-1 in here, but he is off the claim.
Gambler Rocket, been off since October. Has been on synthetic most recently.
He has run some respectable races on the dirt, but they're at Prairie Meadows.
2 main players come up next. Here's Derby Date, the favorite.
Yeah, he's second off a layoff for a barn that's winning a lot and takes a precipitous drop.
Yeah, facing a lot easier. And then Cathedral Beach for Chris Hartman.
Yeah, and Chris Hartman always dangerous. Another horse been running against some tougher fields. I think the 8 is a little more likely, but I get why they're taking money. I thought horses like the 2 and 3 were a little interesting if you're looking for a little bit more of a price, but not much of one.
Post time coming up. This race starts the late pick 5. Let's go to Paul LaDuca.
Yeah, we'll start with the 8 in here. Who's your favorite right now? Derby Date. And, you know, you can look at this horse a couple different ways. Cipriano Contreras has been on fire. He had a horse win yesterday at about 5 or 6-1, season Normandy. You know, this horse, if you look back, obviously the race 4 back at Indiana Grand crushes this group, obviously with that 88 buyer. You know, but when you look at some of his other races, this horse has been in for the tag before for $32,000, and he ran 3rd at Ellis Park. His last effort was not much. He's 8, and you know, Cipriano's very sharp. He had never worn blinkers before until his first 2 career starts, and he put blinkers on him on age 8. Sometimes that's a kind of move that I really don't dig. That it kind of telling me that Cipriano's really searching for something. So now I think the drop in class is the next move for the 8. So it kind of just worries me a little bit, but definitely the horse to beat on paper. The 2 horse in here, I'm in agreement with Andy. I think the 2 and the 3 are both players in here. And the reason why, you know, Kyle Broberg had this horse for 10. He lost the horse for 16 and claimed the horse back. And those claim backs usually work out well. Now, this horse is cutting back in distance to 6 furlongs, but you do get leading rider Christian Torres aboard, 4-1. You probably would want a little bit more of a price. Well, 9-2 right now. Flags up, 4-1. And, you know, this is a horse that has numbers that are good enough to win this race. And then the outside horse, Cathedral Beach, is the other one in here I really thought for Chris Hartman. Listen, Derby Date, I just have my questions about him a little bit in here, although Cipriano's on fire. I do think the 2 could be a sneaky, sneaky horse in here in Windcracker.
Yeah, 4-1. Obviously one of the sharpest barns on the grounds, Carl Broberg. This horse, though, primarily, Andy, he's been going longer.
Well, I think it's interesting he turns him back off the claim. His numbers off the claim are not great. They're not bad. It's otherwise $1.73, and it seems like Broberg's been very live here. I like the 8 with the 2 and 3, and I think the 2 is a very dangerous horse here.
Now the 8, still the favorite. That's Derby Day. That's a huge drop in class, and off that drop deserves to be the one to beat. There he is, stepping in line, 8-year-old, trying to win for the 5th time in his career. Matt Dinnerman with the call. Here's the 5th from Oaklawn.
Deflator going in. Here's Cathedral Beach to the outside. We're ready to go. And Leroff. Take a tap from the inside. Sent hard for speed. There's a lineup for that lead early. Also, there's Deflator. Derby Date is in the mix of horses. Derby Date Mega Tap side by side. Circleback Jack between that pair. And these 3 tussle. Actually, Deflator's also in that group. So there's 4 runners here. Deflator on the inside in the orange jacket. Between them is Circleback Jack and a 3-deep Derby Date into the far turn run. Mega Tap couldn't keep up with that trio. Plummets back, loses 4th now to Cathedral Beach around the far turn they run. Gambler Rocket also retreating, going in the wrong direction, and he's 3 lengths ahead of Flags Up and Windcracker as they round the far turn. Derby Date in the 3 path out of that leading trio appears to be going better than Circleback Jack, who's under a hard ride between horses. Deflator backs out. Cathedral Beach has gotten a great setup, and here comes Cathedral Beach on the outside with Rafael Bejarano. Cathedral Beach pounces on the early leaders and kicks away from the competition. Cathedral Beach by 4-5 with a big burst of energy. He got the right setup, but I'll tell you what, he brought his A game today. Cathedral Beach romps. Flags Up gets up for the 2nd spot. Circleback Jack was 3rd and beat Derby Date, the favorite for that position.
Cathedral Beach, he's won more than a third of his starts. Now 6-time winner from 16 tries, Chris Hartman, third off the claim.
I agree with Matt Dinnerman. He got a perfect trip, but he did bring his A game. He crushed these horses. Now, part of his Derby day stunk. He couldn't even beat the number 6 Circle Back Jacket here, so he really did not run well at all. The 3 who broke a little slowly was able to pick up pieces from the contested pace, but Cathedral Beach was a week the best.
To the Naira Bets Sprint at Tampa Bay, down 6 furlongs, and here's the distractor.
Yeah, down at the rail, a decent price right now at 6-1. He doesn't have much speed. Is he good enough?
Dean Delivers. He was third behind Elite Power in a Grade 1 last year.
Well, he's got some quality and at times has run well. Now he's second off a little bit of a freshening and didn't run particularly well last time. He needs to get better, and he's going to be under the gun the whole way.
His last 3 starts just have not been close to what he used to be.
Yep.
Here's Bouncer at 9-1.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some decent races, but they're not really quite good enough, and he feels like he's sort of too close to what could be a contentious pace with better horses.
Most of the success, for if not for luck, is going synthetic.
I agree. He does have 1 race in the dirt going back, gives him a chance, but he seems to be a better synth horse.
Multiple stakes winner on this surface, Zydeco.
Yeah, I mean, he's had his day in the sun as well, but once again, he's going to need a fast pace in every bit of it. Maybe he'll get it.
And Mish deserves probably to be 4-5.
Yeah, and drawing on the outside enables him to sort of make his own trip. He is best with the lead, but he should be stalking here. I'm not going to argue against him.
Let's take a look at him last time out in the Pelican against a very good group. The winner was Sibelius. Third was Nakatomi. He sat just off the pace in this one.
And we saw Little Vic, who did no running in here, come back and win yesterday's feature at Tampa Bay. And to lose to a horse like Sibelius, well, fortunately for him, there are no Sibeliuses in here, and he's going to be very tough to beat. And he got the most favorable draw.
He's put together 3 or 4 races in a row that no one with their recent form seems like they can really touch him. He clicks down to 3-5 on the board now. He's going to click back down to that number, I believe, in a moment. If anyone can beat him, maybe it's Dean Delivers. Let's check in with Rajiv for more.
Yeah, guys. The dynamics of this race got severely impacted when the number 4 Impacto scratched. He was one of the horses that was expected to be part of the early pace. However, there's still enough pace in here that's going to keep the front runners honest. I know that they're betting the race as if it's really a showdown between Dean Delivers and Mish. However, when I see them on the track, Mish looks outstanding. Not only does he have the perfect post on the outside, and his jockey, Sammy Camacho, is going to be able to dictate where he wants to be. Whether if the pace is slower, he can be closer. If it's faster, he can take back off the pace. So he'll have everything going his own way. Not only that, he looks amazing on the track. He looks like a horse that's ready for his A race, as opposed to Dean Delivers, who looks like a horse that ran flat last time. And I spoke with Michael Yates, his trainer, asking him, you know, what did he think about the subpar effort? And his response was, going into that race, he didn't work as fast as he usually works, and he didn't run his A game. So he's cautiously optimistic that he will come back into form today. And that optimism is what he's hoping for, but he's not showing me that spurs on the track.
Well, if he's vulnerable, maybe we're supposed to play a 7 something else. The question becomes, who's the other horse in here and who could potentially take advantage of some pace, maybe the 5, if not luck. And listen, I don't like horses based on synthetic form, but this horse isn't getting bet off his synthetic form, and maybe he's just an improved horse.
Yeah, the line I'm going to take is that Mish is just going to dominate this race. I'm not sure if I see anyone that I like for second. I think it's a coin toss.
Yeah, I thought the 5 maybe or the 1 distractor could pick up the pieces. I think I agree with you that Dean Delivers could be a little bit vulnerable in this spot, and I'd want a horse who's trying to pick up some ground. So maybe horses like the 1 and 5 could be closing into it and pick up a piece. I, like you, am not trying to beat Mish.
Yeah, the public not either 4-5 on Mish. Raj, he really looks like a standout in this spot. And for Dean Delivers, Andy and I had talked about it. I mean, he had faced the best competition really in the sprint division. Elite Power, he'd face Wayburn and Dorse, Sibelius as well, but he just, the last few starts, does not seem to be that same horse.
Yeah, and look, I'm not completely against Dean Delivers from the second spot. I just feel like there's just a big separation between him and Mish. I don't really like anyone else, to be honest. There's no lines that I could see where I could say, well, someone will benefit in any capacity. So the only strong opinion I could really have in this race is that Mish is just going to be a dominant.
We'll see if he can get it done here. Pick up the 9th win of his career. Gets that outside post. Just missed in the Pelican against Open Company last time out. His main competition seems to be a little bit off form of late, the 2 Dean Delivers, but who is a Grade 3 winner in the past. We mentioned Grade 1 place, so the resume's there.
Oh, I mean, it's not like he doesn't have good races in the past. I mean, there's a time when Dean Delivers would have been favored in this race over Mish, and he should have been favored over Mish. I think the real question is whether or not he has that form anymore, and it seems like Mish has held up, his form's held up a little better. But the good Dean Delivers would be the horse to beat in here and would be the favorite.
And you do see a bullet work from Dean Delivers coming in on March 15th, so maybe he has woken up a little bit, and the good Dean Delivers, maybe he's back.
Maybe, or maybe he got the bullet work to try to wake him up. You know, a horse like this, it should have no problem working in 47-1, so I don't really know. I cannot evaluate a workout by looking at it in the paper. I don't know what times
Yeah, we don't know what was asked for.
Right,
Could have
I
pushed
have
them all
no
out
idea.
to get it.
Right, so I don't know. I just feel like he's a horse whose form may be declining on him, and that concerns me. I mean, I know he lost by a nose 2 back. He was 3-5. He should never have lost that race.
And yeah, regardless, even though it was a decent result, it was a slowish figure in terms of what he used to run.
And then he comes back and he runs another clunker at 5-2. So at what point are we, you know, at some point you have to wonder how much does he have left in the tank? And he's 8-5. If he was 5-1 and you want to take him, fine. But I think his form is questionable, whereas Mish's is better recently. So I'd be looking to play maybe 7 with 1 or 5. Take a shot with one of them for second.
The Naira Bets Sprint from Tampa Bay Downs, the even money favorite from the outside post. It's Mish. Let's go to Jason Beam with the call.
Going to be the next one to join. Waiting on Zydeco and Mish. We'll be all set for a start here. The Naira Bet Sprint, 21st running of this race. Zydeco and Samuel Marin. And another Sammy Camacho to the outside with Mish. Mish goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Naira Bet Sprint. Zydeco showing good early speed. Bouncer is right there, and Mish joining them from the outside. It's going to be Zydeco to grab the lead through that first furlong. Pressure on the inside from Bouncer, on the outside from Mish. And down along the fence, the distractor had to tap on the brakes there. Paco Lopez had to tap out of there. It was passed by If Not For Luck, who takes over 4th. And Dean Delivers is the trailer here early on as Zydeco takes him past the half-mile pole. Zydeco by a length to Mish in second. 22-1 for that opening quarter mile. That's with the breeze in their face. Zydeco the leader now, just a half length in front of Mish, who gets closer. Mish draws with it ahead. They're 2 lengths in front of a lineup of 3. Out wide, If Not For Luck. The distractor between horses. Bouncer on the inside, and Dean Delivers being asked to come after them is about 6 lengths behind the new leader, who's Mish. Mish and Sammy Camacho to the top of the stretch, suddenly 2 in front of Zydeco. If Not For Luck, Dean Delivers going to cue toward the far outside for his run as they have a final furlong left to go. Mish is in front by 3. Zydeco, If Not For Luck, Dean Delivers down the far outside, but a final 16th to go, and it's all Mish. Mish going to lead him here. Mish, late run from If Not For Luck up to second, but Mish wins the Naira Bet Sprint by 3.5 in the end. If Not For Luck was second, Zydeco third. 4th, I believe, was Dean Delivers over the distractor.
Mish dominant in this Naira Bet Sprint. Sam Camacho Jr. for Staffy Joseph Jr. 9th career win for this 7-year-old. We have a new audience joining us right now. Welcome to those just joining us on SNY. Those already with us on Fox Sports 1. You're watching Sunday coverage from Aqueduct, Tampa Bay, and Oaklawn. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Our features still to come here in South Ozone Park, New York, in that Biagio's Rose.
Yeah, it's an interesting race coming down. A couple of New York breds that have been running well against each other, Security Code and Venti Valentine, and another horse in there, Bustin' Bay, who's coming off a huge effort just 10 days ago.
That's still to come. We're a race away from the start of that. First things first, race 6. Minute to post here in this 7-furlong sprint. New York breds, first allowance condition race. And here is Quick to Accuse for trainer Brad Cox, who had a pretty productive Saturday afternoon out of town.
He did, but, you know, he's taken over and apparently has very good numbers, taken over training horses in New York, but he's taken over a good trainer in Rossi de Paz. I'm not his biggest fan. I don't think he's impossible. I prefer the 5 Caldo Candy, who's the second choice right now. Thought the 8 Rock the Weekend's a long shot with a chance in here. I thought both those horses were a little interesting as alternatives to Quick to Accuse.
3 big stakes wins, including that Louisiana Derby for Brad Cox on Saturday. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Taking a look at number 7, Dr. Kraft, a horse who arguably has the best 2 races as of late coming into this one. I think has hung in his last 2 starts just a bit to not deliver, especially last time as the second choice. But they add a very short cup cheater blinker to him today. We'll see if that has any bearing. But the 3 horses taking the bulk of the play look like the 3 to beat on paper, look like the 3 to beat in the flesh. As number 5, Caldo Candy, I don't think his job necessarily gets any easier with the presence of Pascal Moon, who at a price looks fantastic here and is acting like the sharper of the 2. But Caldo Candy has the advantage of being outside, and he comes in here off a little bit of a gap, you know, nearly 2 months for Jimmy Bond, and he looks so strong. It looks as though he's filled out a bit, very confident. I like what I'm seeing from him, and I know that his 1 try at the 7 furlongs wasn't his best, but I do think he can be effective. A bit more of a longer, stretchier frame to him. But ultimately, I did land on the horse who's been teetering back and forth with favoritism. That's number 4, Quick to Accuse. Now, for whatever reason, I wasn't in the paddock for his last 3 efforts, but in that comeback race as a 3-year-old last year at Saratoga, I noted that he just really didn't go on. There wasn't any forward progression physically from 2 to 3. Well, there has been from 3 to 4. He's filled out. He's gotten bigger. He looks very fit in here. Great coat to him. And I just thought tactically he could be the one sitting right behind those early leaders in Caldo Candy and Pascal Moon. Maybe he's the one that can pounce at the right time. Guys?
Maggie, thanks. So positives for Caldo Candy. He's the favorite on the board right now for the Jimmy Bond barn.
Looking forward to seeing another Jimmy Bond horse run, Spiteful Lady, I think on Thursday's card, that won by about 100 lengths in her debut. But I like Caldo Candy. I think it's improving. And I agree, probably stalk Pascal Moon. They've run together before. I prefer him. Pascal Moon's a big price at 7 to 1. Dr. Kraft taking money. I guess he's not impossible, but he's had his chances. I thought the 8 Rock the Weekend's a horse that could make a big run in here and maybe get a piece late. It's a big price at 15 to 1.
3 on the board, though, between 2 to 1 and 5 to 2. The favorite, the 4, Quick to Accuse, off since January 13th, moving to the Brad Cox barn. We'll see if the favorite delivers here in the 6th. Chris Griffin with the call.
Quick to Accuse moving forward. Caldo Candy. Please be nice to the outside. And in. All set. And they're off. Please Be Nice gets the first call from the far outside draw. There's Caldo Candy in the early mix, and Pascal Moon is joining them. Dr. Kraft is in the early fray, and Rock the Weekend Blue Cap now in behind rivals comes Quick to Accuse, who's in 5th. Please Be Nice broke with the leaders, is towards the tail end of the field with Dock Advantage, and the early trailer, Kentucky Joker. Pascal Moon has the lead at 7 to 1. Pascal Moon is up by a half length. Caldo Candy, Luis Rivera Jr. engaged right to the outside here from second. 23.59 for the opening quarter mile. Quick to Accuse moves through at the rail, is now challenging for the 3rd position with Dr. Kraft out wider. In between horses, Dock Advantage is progressing. Blue Silks under a snug hold with Rock the Weekend. They're going to be 5th and 6th. Towards the back end, Please Be Nice, and the trailer is still Kentucky Joker as the rail is open for Quick to Accuse, and Manny Franco is going to take it. It's Quick to Accuse, who now rides that rail and has put a nose in front. And Quick to Accuse is taking the lead. Pascal Moon gets the cue. Dr. Kraft out wider. Caldo Candy's the gray still in the mix, 3 wide. As they reach the top of the stretch, was it the winning move? It's Quick to Accuse, who now sprints for home. It's Quick to Accuse, who's up by a length and a half, 2, now widening. Caldo Candy is under a full drive here from second. On the far outside, that's going to be Dr. Kraft. Quick to Accuse, still up by 2. Caldo Candy is giving game chase. These two well ahead of the rest. Quick to Accuse, that ground-saving trip, gets the victory. Quick to Accuse over Caldo Candy. Then came Dr. Kraft and Pascal Moon in 1 minute 22.42 seconds.
Quick to Accuse. Fence was open. Manny Franco says thank you very much and cruises to victory.
I mean, listen, he was probably best anyway, but the trip certainly helped him sitting behind some battling horses. And Manny Franco understands that Eric Cancel, for whatever reason, he never stays on the rail when he's in front. He always drifts off the fence and always leaves an opening for guys to come through. And I think Manny Franco's acutely aware of that, saw what Eric was doing, and it helped him get the job done here. Probably wins anyway, to be honest with you. But I'm not sure if there's some problem with the rail that I don't know about that Eric thinks is, but it's the way he rides, right or wrong. He doesn't go to the rail with speed horses.
Pretty sharp time for 7 furlongs, 1:22.2.
It can't be right. There's no way it's right. They did not come home in 11.66. It's just not possible. Okay. And I don't think they went 23.06 for the third quarter either. Those times are completely inaccurate, in my opinion.
4.571. That would be an incredibly sharp 7 furlong time. Quick to Accuse off the bench, nevertheless, gets the second win in his 9-start career. First in the Brad Cox barn. Back at Tampa, Mish, easy work with this field. And the Naira Bet sprints coming out of that narrow runner-up finish against Open Company. Dominates Florida Breds here.
Yeah, this horse was much the best on paper, much the best there, and we talked about the opportunity to bet against an exactas, and could have that exacta with the 5 finishing second. Exacta paid $18 for $1 as the 2 Dean delivers was absolutely no factor whatsoever.
So Mish, big victory. Saffie Joseph Jr., C2 Racing Stable, Sam Camacho Jr. Meanwhile, it's Quick to Accuse back in New York with the victory for trainer Brad Cox. Rupp Racing and Manny Franco. The Biagio Rose is next. Security code. We'll try and make it 3 consecutive wins when we come back. Whatever happens in the third and final leg of this year's Triple Crown, we know that history is going to be made because it will be the first Belmont Stakes ever held at historic Saratoga Racecourse. You want to be part of the action, do not miss it. It will be wild. Festival Racing Week, Belmont Stakes, 6th through the 9th of June. Tickets on sale now, the few that are left. Go to belmontstakes.com/tickets and be part of the fun.
I'm thinking of going up.
I might join you.
Yeah,
I've thought about it.
Heading up. I might go to the track even if I'm in town.
What
you see my house
a
from there.
scene that is going to be with a Triple Crown event at that historic racetrack. Quick to Accuse takes the 6th at Aqueduct. Manny Franco for Brad Cox.
And those hard-to-believe times apparently are correct. My friend David Aragona said he timed them from the video and says they're accurate. So I guess they were going slow early and flying late. Good trip or not, the source ran very, very well. A good effort by Caldo Candy as well, was simply second best. And the rail was open, but I don't think it mattered.
Yeah, the source was going to do whatever he needed to beat this field, beats them very easily.
And I guess the running of the race lent some credence, even without timing it, that it could be correct because they gapped the field out like in a heartbeat.
$6.70 for Quick to Accuse. Hadn't raced since January 13th. I'd face some good ones. Arctic Arrogance back in the 2-year-old campaign and the Sleepy Hollow. Much bigger things to come after that performance. Move on to the Biagio's Rose. Fillies and mares, 4 and up, 1 turn mile in the rematch between Security Code and Venti Valentine. Just a neck separated them when they met in the Broadway. That win went to Security Code, who will try and make it 3 in a row to date. Right now, though, she is 4-1 on the board, Andy.
Well, it's interesting. The odds on the board are a little bit reflective of the doubles. The second choice, looking at multi-race bets, is the number 4, the horse that I like in this race. The Linda Rice runner, Bustin' Bay, and Venti Valentine is a substantial favorite, looking at the multi-race bets. Substantial favorite.
Wow. More on the Biagio's Rose to come. The rematch, Security Code, Venti Valentine. Throw Bustin' Bay into the mix, too, coming off a win. Linda Rice back. That's next, and more coming up from Tampa Bay as well. We'll check it again with Rajiv Mirage as we get set for the Esmark Turf Classic. 4-year-olds and up, mile and an eighth on the grass when we come back on America's Day at the Races.
Zandon's poetry in motion. Big horse, but light on his feet. And he's always showed up and been consistent and been right there with some of the top horses in training. In the Bluegrass Stakes, he showed his determination and his raw ability.
It's over. Zandon wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
I feel breeders will be really blown away by what a striking, outstanding looking horse he is.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Your guide to selecting a stallion for your mare. Step 1. Make sure he's won a big, famous race.
This big guy charges away and takes the Dubai World Cup.
Step 2. He'd better be very good looking. Step 3. He must have excited the support of breeders with quality mares. Mystic Guide. He's unmissable. Call Darley.
Quality at his core.
And Core Beliefs will come on and win it nicely.
By leading sire, Quality Road.
And here is Core Beliefs to take the lead. Core Beliefs on the outside. Here it is. Core Beliefs.
All the best attributes of his sire. A multiple graded stakes winner who's proven at the classic distance with tactical speed and a must-see physical.
It's Core Beliefs who digs his heels in to win the New Orleans Handicap.
Core Beliefs, standing at Walmack.
Good to have you with us on our Sunday coverage here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1, regional networks across the country. Stakes action continues at Tampa Bay on the turf, mile and an eighth in this 9th race, the Esmark Turf Classic. Forever Super expected to be the favorite at post time, and right now 9-5.
He should be the favorite. He probably should have won 2 in a row. He did not get the best of trips in his race 2 back. Was best that day and came back with a win off a difficult trip. Me and Mr. C has run probably the better races over his career, but it does feel like he's another horse whose recent form leaves a little be desired, not as much as Dean delivers.
Well, turf start last time on the turf. Happy is as happy does. Decent figure. Does that kind of put him in the mix at all?
I think it does. I don't think he's impossible in this race. His last turf race, I thought it was pretty good. You know, the Eyes of the King's okay. I don't have a big knock on him. I think the interesting horse view as a price is Otago. Otago on the outside, 4-1 is preposterous. I imagine he'll drift up from there because he is a horse that ran a good race here last year. I just think this is a tough spot coming in off the layoff.
Long time
He should
away.
be 10 or 12-1 in here, maybe even higher. I thought he was going to be a long shot, and he might be worth a look at that price.
Last time he was seen, we're talking about the 8-horse Otago, Grade 2 American Turf race that we said that endlessly winner of the Jeff Ruby Stakes is pointing toward on the Derby undercard. Beat by Web Slinger that day, so a long time away for that horse. But yeah, a little interesting. He won the sophomore turf on this card last year.
But he's got to be, he's got to be at least double the price he is. I imagine he's going to go up by post time.
All right, we'll get back to this race here from Rajiv in just a little bit. We're going to head back to Hot Springs. Minute to post in race 6, start of the late pick 4, and a $20,000 starter allowance. 6 furlong sprint in Wind of Change. Robertino Diodoro, even money favorite from the inside. Let's go to Paul LaDuca.
Yeah, Greg, and Wind of Change is, the horse to beat in here. When you look at some of the numbers, the worry that you have with the one horse in here is the layoff. And there's a lot of horses in here that want to go to the front end. And you wonder if it sets up for some type of closer in here. But when you look through the body of this field, I don't know if there's really a ton of horses that really want to make a late charge. You look at somebody like the 6 Mac Daddy 2 for Norm Cassie, can lay for a little bit off the pace, but kind of grinds away a tiny bit. The 5 was a horse that could pass horses, but was a scratch in here. And when you look at the 4 and the 9, it's really interesting. And I wanted to explain this to some people. If you see Alpine Thunder, the 9, he's a son of Empire Way. So is the 4 as well. You can see they both were in California. Now, even though he was a Kentucky bred, if the sire stands in California, which Empire Way does, out of a Swiss Yodeler mare, so California mare, this horse was running in some state-bred races, was the 9 Alpine Thunder. So I do think, though, that he's the one horse that can pass horses in this race. When you look at the 6 and the 7 money run in Mac Daddy 2, they're very, very honest. You just wonder if Wind of Change comes out of there and starts rolling at the get-go, or does he have to, or does he need to lead? He might be fresh. At even money, is it willing to take a shot against him? Because he really has numbers that are really going to tough to beat. But I'll take a shot with the 9 Alpine Thunder from off the pace. And one little note for you, Greg. Rock You Like a Hurricane was not the Scorpions' best song. Wind of Change is a phenomenal song.
We agree with you, Paulie. No question. Wind of Change. Even money on this horse? 97 buyer victory last time out. You don't see that often in $32,000 claiming races.
He's got some fast figs. Obviously the scary horse is the speed of Shady Empire. Off the claim for Peter Miller, but he claimed him from Robertino Diodoro. My note at the top of the page was all Tino all the time because you got the 1, who's the heavy favorite. You got the 4 claim from Robertino Diodoro. You have the bottom going out for Robertino Diodoro. His fingerprints have smudged the window of this race. And you got the 7 money run Steve Asmussen claimed off Robertino. So we got 8 in here, 2 being trained by Tino and 2 coming from his barn. You figure it out, Greg. Speed of the 4 scares me, though. Could he wire the field off the claim for Peter Miller?
Very quick horse.
How about off the claim in the dirt sprints? 19 for 54, 33% or 35%, 265 ROI. Those are good numbers, right?
Yes, they are. He's a danger, no question. That's the 4 horse. Ramon Vasquez will be aboard. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman. Here's the 6 from Oaklawn.
Shady Empire going in. Alpine Thunder to the outside post. We're ready to go. And Leroff Shady Empire, quarter horse down to the gate. Table Money, aggressive too. He's up on the pace with that rival. Haya comes to split that pair down the back stretch. Money Run in the 4th position. Shack's Way is next. Alpine Thunder shuffled to the back of the pack. He's been passed by Mac Daddy 2, who's advancing position between horses. Wind of Change at the rear with his stablemate, Alpine Thunder. The 2 Diodoro entrance at the back, 5 lengths off the leader, and that lead is being held by Haya. Haya, the long shot, into the turn with Shady Empire right there. Money Run eased off the pace, is coming back on again, 3 wide. These 3 across the track at a contentious tempo around the turn. Mac Daddy 2 in the 4th position. He's waiting right now. Now he's going to get outside. He's gotten a good setup. Can he take advantage of it? Table Money is next. Shack's Way is trying to produce a bid on the outside. Wind of Change is also trying to get going. Tips outside as they come down the lane. It's a cavalry charge coming down the stretch here. And Mac Daddy 2 comes away with the lead. Alpine Thunder is let loose from the back of the field. He's charging down the grandstand side. Alpine Thunder, Mac Daddy 2. Alpine Thunder on the outside gets by to win it for Harry Hernandez. Mac Daddy 2 was second. Third home was Shack's Way. Photo for 4th, Haya. And Wind of Change, the favorite at 7-5 in that photo for the 4th spot. But his stablemate won it. Alpine Thunder from the back of the pack.
You beat a short price Robertino Diodoro horse. It doesn't matter. He still beats you with his other horse, Alpine Thunder, at the bigger price.
Boy, it felt like the number 6 might be able to get the job done. Mac Daddy 2 for Norm Cassie. And last year, the way Norm was going, he would have won the race. But this year, he's just taken some tough beats when he's had his best chances. And the number 9, Alpine Thunder, got the last move. And the last move, the best move, as they were moving up front. Nothing from Wind of Change off the claim.
5-1 on the stablemate of the big favorite as we get back to Tampa. And here's our post parade. Forever Super now odds on 4-5.
Well, he's in very good form, and he is the horse to beat in here. He needs to get the pace up front, though. He doesn't have a lot of speed.
Lord Eddard Stark, Joe Orsino trainee, Javier Castellano aboard.
I think he went to high school with me, Lord Eddard, actually. His last race pretty good. I mean, Whisper Nado beats him is okay.
You didn't watch Game of Thrones, I take it. Merlin
caught
at 18-1.
Well, we have our own Merlin down at Tampa Bay today, and Rajiv, he'll be up next. He looks a little slow. His best race, but he's a synthetic horse at best.
7 Bridges Road, biggest price on the board.
Yeah, he is over his head on paper.
Here's a contender, me and Mr. C for Mike Maker.
Yeah, now this horse I used to love that used to be with Ned Allard, actually, years ago, and he's been consistent for a long time. Is he tailing off? We'll see.
Made a nice appearance. Here's a 7. Happy is as happy does.
Yeah, I mean, he's a horse who's going to be forward. You would think he's going to be in front here. And 9-1, not a bad price on him. His last turf race pretty good.
And the long laugh, a horse who won the sophomore turf here last year, Otago.
Yeah, and his price is drifting up. So if you find him interesting, you're getting a better price. And this is a little like the last race. You know, maybe you want to look at it and think, well, do I want to try to take a little bit of a shot against the number 6 or one of the favorites? For me, it would be the 6. And try to get somebody bigger price. I'd be looking at the 7 and 8 as the others.
Well, let's send it out to Rajiv as we get set for this Turf Classic. And Rajiv, this race we have to start with Forever Super.
Yes, Forever Super, he's a deserving favorite. He has the perfect inside post. Earlier in his career, he used to run off on the lead early and fade late. Recently, they have changed tactics on him and having him sit a little bit off the pace. And he's been able to sustain a big stretch run since that. Him being a now horse, I think, puts him in a great advantage against his competition. The main competition that I was intrigued with was the number 8, Otago. And I spoke with Kelsey Danner, his trainer, and she said that they were really excited about this race. It's a horse that they have a lot of high hopes for. And coming off the layoff, she thinks she has him really fit. Like, she doesn't think he'll need a race. However, when I saw him on the track, I think he still probably needs a race. He hasn't run in over 8 months, and Forever Super just seems to be the horse that ticks all the boxes, everything ready for today. Me and Mr. C, I know he's a second favorite in here, and there's a big gap between him and the rest of the horses. However, I feel like the distance is a bit shorter than he really likes. It's not his optimal distance. And the pace scenario isn't going to benefit him that much. So I feel like Forever Super just really stands out over this field.
Are you at all concerned about the lack of pace in here could work against him, as he really has no speed, Raj?
Well, Forever Super, he showed speed in the past. I think it's been by design that they've taken him a little bit off the pace, but he has enough natural speed where he won't be too far off the pace.
Well, I hope you're right. I mean, if he uses his natural speed, you're right. There were times he was a bit closer. He's going to be tough, and maybe you're right. You know, look at that race 2 back. He's got a poor ride that day and probably should have won. He's in great form. I don't disagree with you. I would try to beat me and Mr. C. What do you think about trying to beat him for second in the exacta with horses like the 7 or 8?
I'll definitely. I don't really love me and Mr. C here because of he's the one that's going to be more pace compromised, in my opinion. His races that he's been running more optimally has been at 1.5 miles or 1 3/8 miles or further, and cutting back to 1 16 miles, he's going to be well off the pace, and he's going to have to overcome that, and I don't really see that happening. I'll definitely look at Otago as a horse that they paid a lot of money for, $375,000 for a Florida-bred yearling, and he showed great promise earlier. Had a setback, had a layoff. He won his only race against Florida breds in a stake race, so he showed that he fits atop the Florida bred stake horses, and his workouts look good. So he would be the horse that I would prefer in the second line.
Well, he actually won the 3-year-old version of this race last year, right? The one we just saw.
Yes, same distance, same track. So, and that was off a layoff, a similar layoff. So I believe that he doesn't mind too much of a layoff.
Yeah, meanwhile, pace-wise in here, I know the 8's coming off a long layoff, maybe fresh off the bench, but doesn't it look like the 7 could be by himself in here?
I agree. That's why I bet 1-7 in this race. I agree. I think the 7 is big value at 11-1 right now. I bet a little 1-7 here, a little slightly reverse. I think the 7 could be controlling up front.
See what happens if he can outlast this group. Got to hold off a very tough runner who's going to be coming at him late in Forever Super, who's the odds-on 4-5 favorite. It's the Turf Classic from Tampa Bay Downs. Let's go to Jason Beam.
Me and Mr. C going up, waiting on Happy Is as Happy Does, and Otago to the outside. We're just about set for a start. The Esmark Turf Classic. Otago and Adam Biscuitza to the outside. Good to have the biscuit in town. As Otago joins the line. Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Esmark Turf Classic. Forever Super, the favorite, got away very well to the inside gate. Happy Is as Happy Does is quicker, though, and Happy Is as Happy Does goes right to the front. Down to the inside, Forever Super, Otago up from the outside. Also me and Mr. C in that second flight. Behind Happy Is as Happy Does. Antonio Gallardo wanted to lead, and he has it as they come into the stretch for the first time. Otago, Forever Super, second, third, joining them Merlin from the outside, fourth. Just in behind that comes me and Mr. C, who's fifth in the black colors, about 4 off the top. It's another 2 back to Lord Eddard Stark. And at the back, 7 Bridges Road. Happy Is as Happy Does takes him past the 3/4 mile marker by 2 lengths. To Otago in second, 23 and 4, the opening quarter mile. Happy Is as Happy Does, the leader. Otago is second, out 3 deep there. Merlin is third. Forever Super tucked in down toward the inside, fourth. 7, me and Mr. C rather, is after that. It's a length more then, back to Lord Eddard Stark and 7 Bridges Road trails. The opening half carved out in 47 3/5 seconds. They go midway down the backstretch in the Esmark Turf Classic. Happy Is as Happy Does. At a controlled tempo here, still in front 3/4 of a length. Otago some mild pressure from second. Right outside of that one comes Merlin. Forever Super stays glued to the fence, fourth, 3 off the top. Me and Mr. C is fifth right now, about 4.5 adrift. Lord Eddard Stark at 7 Bridges Road. There hasn't been a lot of change, but Forever Super trying to change that, trying to rally up to the inside. In behind Happy Is as Happy Does. Happy Is as Happy Does brings him to the top of the stretch, a length in front. Forever Super, Paco Lopez trying to get out to that 2 path. Now swings out to come after this long time leader. Happy Is as Happy Does. Forever Super turns on the jets on the outside and now goes to the front. Happy Is as Happy Does tries to kick back to the inside. Me and Mr. C down the outside up to third, but Forever Super going clear late. Forever Super, a comfortable win here in the Esmark Turf Classic, a length and a half. Second, Happy Is as Happy Does. Me and Mr. C was third. It was 4 or 5 more back to Otago, who finished fourth.
Forever Super comes and gets the speed. Happy is as happy does. Valiant effort in the lead, but could not hold off the favorite late.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes these races sort of play out the way you kind of thought. I yelled at Greg. Greg told me I was home for my 1-7 exacta, and I told him, let's get to the wire first. Not quite that nicely. But, you know, listen, the 7 you knew was the speed. He was a nice price. The 6 seemed to be tailing off a bit, and the 1's just better than these. And Raj was right. He got good position.
All right, back to New York. Biagio's Rose. Here comes our post parade. And we'll start with Security Code. Winner of the Broadway last time out over the current 6-5 favorite, Venti Valentine.
Yeah, generous price if you like her. And I guess the bettors are saying that they don't think she can get the distance. I don't know. She runs well every time. I would never discount her.
Trying to make it 3 in a row. Phil Serpi, Jose Lescano for Wellspring Stables. 3-1 right now. On the Broadway winner, there's the 2, Sweetest Princess, double-digit odds at 10-1.
Yeah, she's been in great form. Jimmy Ferraro's having a great winter, but she needs to get every bit of her best effort to be a contender.
No match for Security Code Venti Valentine in that Broadway last time out. She was 4 to 6 lengths behind him. Here's Boston Bay, Linda Rice.
She was super last time, and Linda's record coming back on short rests off wins are very good.
It's a good appearance here under Kendrick Carmouche, coming off a win at a mile last time out. The 6-5 favorite, who again is 4 for 7 at this mile distance, came up just short to Security Code in that Broadway by a neck at 7 furlongs, Venti Valentine.
Don't you feel like that's why she's this kind of price? I think the public is really looking at that mile, and I can't blame them. I felt the same way, even though I picked her second.
Annie Franco aboard, and then Stonewall Star from the outside.
I bet her last time, and she was awful. It's an ambitious spot. Maybe that's a good sign for a horse who one time had stakes quality performances, but I mean, her form seems to have left her.
Public all over Venti Valentine, Maggie, to turn the tables on Security Code. She's even money.
Yeah, I think the distance really lends itself well to Venti Valentine, as she's just more proven at this one-term mile. 4 for 7, lifetime over it. I'm a fan of her. She always comes up with and shows up with her A game physically. I like what I see. Again, she's very energetic in the paddock too, which I think is a good sign for her. As really Security Code, I honestly don't see anything physically prohibiting her from getting the mile. She's actually kind of got some scope, some ranginess to her, and she is fairly relaxed as well in these prelims, which is always good for a horse that isn't proven at a longer distance. Moving great on the track too, and like Andy said, she's just ultra consistent, and she looks that way physically. She always shows up in good form, looking at her from, you know, healthy and well-conditioned standpoint. So we'll see what shakes out here. She just is in the unenviable position of having to be down on the inside, though I don't think it's a necessarily bad thing being on the rail today. We'll see what kind of trip she works out. It's an interesting running of the Biagio's Rose, guys.
So here we go. Maggie, thank you. There's the prices, by the way, from Tampa Bay. Forever Super winds up going off at 1-2 in the end.
I mean, and me, Mr. C, drifting to 9-2, exactly paying $6 for a buck. Not exactly rocket science getting that one home, but it worked. For those of you that feel bad that we haven't heard from Maggie today with all the other tracks we're covering, she will be taking over the desk for me at a little after 5. So we'll get a little of Maggie in there because she's been kind of left out a little bit.
I have a timer on.
Do you?
Counting down the minutes. Excited to see Maggie?
More excited to see me go? Well, you did have 3.5 hours of me yesterday, too, so it's understandable. It's been a tough weekend for you.
I'm a little surprised. And I know she loves this distance. I know she was getting – you can make the argument to Security Code last time out. She's going to get an extra furlong to do it. Even money on Venti Valentine?
I didn't think she'd be even money. Now, keep in mind, when we first looked at this race, it was a bigger field. There were more contenders in here. So that kind of is in your head. And now – on paper, it's very hard to make a case for anybody other than the 3. And so it's no surprise she's favored, being it's a mile. 7-5 maybe, but she couldn't be that big a price given these. I thought Boston Bay might end up being a little bit of a better price here, which is why I liked her. I mean, I don't mind her at 5-2. It's not exactly a big field, and I did bet doubles with her, but it's not a great price.
Any interest at all in Stonewall Star and the fact that she might be able to control from the outside?
No.
Okay.
I just don't think I think her form is horrendous lately. I think they're taking a shot here. I respect Horacio De Paz, but I tried her last time. She was absolutely dreadful. And the race was won by a horse who was involved in the pace with her. So, no, I don't like her.
There was a time. I mean, she had drilled Security Code. That was a long time ago, though. And form has kind of tailed off. She takes the blinkers off, though. She'll try and Get that speed to extend a little longer today.
Isn't Kendrick going to be aggressive with the 4? He was aggressive last time and it worked.
See what happens. Even money on Venti Valentine the 7 to try and turn the tables on the 1. Security code in that rematch from the Broadway. It's the Biagio's Rose. Here's Chris Griffin.
And they're off. Little squeeze at the start there was Sweetest Princess, the early trailer. Stonewall Star right out towards the front, and here's Security Code, and now Security Code is put ahead in front of Stonewall Star, who's back to second. Tipping right to the outside, Venti Valentine, then in behind horses there comes Bustin' Bay, and Sweetest Princess is the early trailer, 3.5 off the lead. 3 across the racetrack, moderate tempo early there for Security Code. Pressured to the outside from Stonewall Star and still 3 wide. That's going to be Venti Valentine. Bustin' Bay gets the journey right here in 4th, is in behind that battling trio who went 24.35 for the opening quarter mile. Sweetest Princess is caught up to the pack, is now in 5th, is the trailer, but only 2 off the lead. Still 3 across the racetrack, and on the inside, Security Code is trying to fend them off. Right there to the outside, though, is Stonewall Star. They went 47.3 for the half-mile time, and the front 2 try to get away from Venti Valentine, but now Manny Franco calls upon Venti Valentine, still 3 wide. Bustin' Bay is moving towards the outside as well, and Sweetest Princess is going to save ground to the inside, is right in behind the leaders now, is going to need a way through as they get set to reach the top of the stretch. Stonewall Star continues to go at it here with Security Code. Where is Sweetest Princess going to go? Red Silks is going to dive down towards the rail. Bustin' Bay is going to go to the outside. No gap there for Sweetest Princess. Stonewall Star is kicked on. It's Stonewall Star for a final furlong. Bustin' Bay is within range, and here comes Bustin' Bay to the outside. Stonewall Star needs a final 16th. Bustin' Bay is trying to catch this leader. Stonewall Star wins the Biagio's Rose. Bustin' Bay second, then Venti Valentine, and Security Code in 1 minute 36.51 seconds.
Stonewall Star sitting in second throughout much of this race between horses, and then the best finisher of anyone late really turns around her form.
Gee, I feel like somebody owes me money, frankly. I have no... This horse went off at 9-2 and went from, what, 8-1 to 9-2 in the last flash? So somebody obviously knew that she was going to win today. I just don't know how. She was horrendous in her last 2 starts. I don't mean horrendous. And I know it was a slow pace, but the other 2 horses in the pace with her ran absolutely nowhere here. A bad 3rd and 4th. If she won at 20-1 in this race, 5-horse field or not, I guess I could understand it. Somebody out there is a lot smarter than me, and I know you thought she had a shot, Greg. I don't have any. Listen, horses will win that you don't like, and I tip my hat. I think Horacio De Paz is a tremendous trainer, but I want to know how this horse paid 9-2.
That was the big surprise, the price she went off at. Yeah, wow. Really, and that late hit, too. I mean, she was 8-1 as they were loading into the gate, and all of a sudden clicks down to 9-2.
This is worth looking into, to be honest with you. I just don't understand how this horse could be 9-2 in here off her last 2 races.
4 wins now from 7 starts at Aqueduct. She's now 5 for 12 overall, and that equipment change may have done the trick. Stonewall Star, the win. Horacio De Paz, Isaac Castillo in the familiar silks. Barry Schwartz in the Biagio's Rose, holding off that late charge from Bustin' Bay for the win. Back on America's Day at the races. And very happy face of Isaac Castillo for Horacio De Paz, and Stonewall Star really turns around her form. As our winner circle lead in, brought to you by the Fasig-Tipton's industry-leading selected yearling sales. The July sale, Saratoga sale, and New York Red yearling sale all taking place this summer. Nominate your yearlings today at FasigTipton.com. Stonewall Star, the win, pays $11.60, holds off that late charge from Boston Bay. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Here with winning conditioner Horacio De Paz and Stonewall Star. Horacio, talk a little bit about the equipment change, taking blinkers off of her for the first time ever.
Yeah, we breezed her 2 breezes back and we took them off to breeze, and she actually galloped out pretty good. I mean, she's always had them on before, so, you know, trying to get her back to her form, we needed to make some changes and hoping that it would work, and it seemed to work out.
It really did. I mean, because her last 2 performances weren't great. Talk a little bit about sticking to your guns and knowing that you still had a quality horse on your hands.
Yeah, it was disappointing. I mean, the first race she needed it coming off the layoff, and she got bumped pretty hard. And then the second race she had an excuse at the start as well, and the third one I couldn't come up with anything. So, but putting her back in New York bred company and, you know, stretching her out, letting the pace be a little bit easier seemed to, you know, be the key to that.
Well, massive congratulations pulling off the mild upset here.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, he had a big smile on his face for that one today with Stonewall Star, guys. Blinkers coming off, did the trick.
Stonewall Star, that is a big reversal of form. And for some of the bigger names in their security code, Venti Valentine, not their A races.
No, I agree. I agree. And they, you know, I don't know that she would have won, and it's not that, you know, it felt like Henrik's riding to instructions, but it seemed like after being so aggressive last time with Boston Bay in a very fast pace, they decided the pace would be too fast in here and decided to rate a horse. And of course, when you decide the pace is going to be too fast, it ends up being too slow, which obviously helped the winner. On the other hand, the other 2 horses in the pace absolutely folded their tents. Whoever they are and however they knew, they did. This horse went from 8 or 10 to 1 the last flash to 9 to 2, and off her form, she's a little hard to make at $11, but somebody made her there, and they were right.
Cross-country pick 5 follow along, 2 legs remain. And a couple of healthy prices there. Mish looked like an absolute standout. So good luck if you're still alive with still 2 legs to come. More from Tampa Bay on the way. Sophomore Stakes is next. Purse of $110,000, and we have horse coming off a maiden claiming win that was just dominant last time out. That's Saybrook. We'll have more on this race next.
Nothing stood in his way. War of Will won the Preakness. At the line, War of Will. That's a photo for the win. Hey, 650,000.
War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
Spandarella could not have been more impressive.
The sun shines bright on this value sire.
Fair down 25, fair down 25, fair down. Thank you. Right here, 525,000.
Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. He's just taking it all in.
He's got his sights on Raj. Don't kid yourself. He saw Raj coming in.
He wants an autograph.
I don't think he's safe getting out of there. Gator's coming for him.
Ocala Breeder Sales Sophomore Stakes is next, and we have a 6-5 favorite and a horse who's undefeated, 4 for 4, coming in, making his U.S. debut and 3-year-old debut. And then you have a horse on the outside in Saybrook, second start. He ran a figure that has got to be one of the fastest sprint figures for any 3-year-old this year in a maiden claiming race at Tampa.
Yeah, you do kind of want to see it again, but I don't know what figures you look at. Saybrook ran fast last time, but apparently the latest Bold Forbes is here. Because Sugar Boy at 6-5, 4-5 on Sugar Boy, and I was there in Saratoga. Actually, he made his Forbes made his stateside debut in the Tremont, and then he came to Saratoga with the special. And of course, eventually won the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont Stakes in one of Angel Cordero's greatest rides, if not his greatest ride. Maybe he's the next Bold Forbes, just 48 years later.
We'll wait and see on that. You're kidding, of course. Is it just the wins?
It's comparable.
Is it just the wins that this horse is getting all this money, or is there got to be a story?
No, there's got to be a story because just, I mean, in no way do I mean this to be disparaging about the racing in Puerto Rico, but it is not as strong as our racing. He did win the Angel Cordero, though. He's undefeated. He's won $80,000. Now, he's won easily. He's been very short prices. I have no idea who he's beating in those races. My guess is he's meeting some tougher horses, and he certainly is if the 8 runs back to his 93 buyer, and they're betting him like he's Bold Forbes.
They are.
I mean, they are. I mean, I'm sorry. I wrote down, and I'm sure you had similar thoughts, he was going to be the fun horse to sort of talk about in this race. I don't think we could have expected him to be this price. He was 3-1 on the line.
Group 1 winner. As you mentioned, in a much softer circuit, we don't know what he was up against in Puerto Rico, but he has never lost. He's won sprinting. He's won on a wet track. He's won on a muddy track, fast track, everything thrown at him so far to this point. He has passed with flying colors, and he's done it pretty easily as well. We'll see what happens in his first U.S. start coming up as we head back to Oaklawn. And race 7, 2 minutes away here. This race, 6 furlongs, $20,000 claiming race, all for sale for that price. Non-winners of 3 lifetime. There's the favorite, the 8. Let's go to Paul Duca for more.
Yeah, Greg, and the 8 Shuffle Dance is your favorite on the board right now for Robertina Diodoro. And, when you look at the race, I don't know if he's the best horse in the field, although he ran really well last time at the 12.5 non-2 level, but he might get clear again. And, he got away with a really slow pace last time out and went gate to wire. On paper, does it look like he's going to get to the front again? I don't know. He might have to go a little bit faster. I still think he gets to the front, but I don't know if he goes 46-3. He might have to speed it up a little bit. The 7 in here, Just Battle, for Steve Asmussen, if you look at this horse's races, he claimed this horse for 30, but you go back when this horse was in the Al Stall barn, this horse ran 2 monster numbers at Keeneland and at Churchill, one around 1 turn at 7 furlongs, and lost to Highland Falls going around 2 turns. So, Just Battle, I thought was a better bet than maybe the 8 in here, Shuffle Dance. I guess maybe Shuffle Dance has the early lick maybe on Just Battle, but just looking at that class, I would think the 7's a player here. Now he has just clicked to your 2-1 favorite. And listen, the other horse in here that I was interested in, Fire Brian's an interesting horse at a long shot. I think should not be 17-1. Can he win this race? I don't think so. I landed on the 5, Husker Butch. This is a horse that's been in the Donnie Von Hemmel barn. Cipriano Contreras is 24% off the claim. This horse really didn't have much of an excuse last time, but I just think he's going to run a bigger race. And, the last race he ran into, Mean Jakey, was a drop down for Steve Asmussen. I think this was a tougher group he faced last time. And the fact that Cipriano claimed this horse for himself, he puts his nephew on, obviously, and Manny Esquivel. This horse is getting bet a little bit. I'll take the 4-1. But you got to pay attention to the start of this race, because I think if the 8 can clear, he can be tough, and the 7 with the back class. But I just think the 5 is going to move forward a lot in here, Greg.
Well, the Shuffle Dance certainly quick, and we'll see if Christian Torres takes advantage of that speed. Right-hand side of your screen, sophomore Stakes at Tampa, and there's Sugar Boy State's debut coming up for this undefeated Group 1 winner overseas.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, the money on this horse is definitely making this race much more interesting.
Even money. There is the 3-banded Rocket right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, I mean, this is a race where we don't know who the 1 is, and he's taking a lot of money. We know the 8 ran fast last time, and the rest of them all feel like they have somewhat similar chances, right? I couldn't really make a choice among them.
Loading up at Oaklawn, left-hand side of your screen. We'll get to that race in a moment. Pure Class went by. Here's Snow Name, the 5.
I thought this one would be an upsetter. Does have speed, though. Could be the main speed.
Jigsaw, a little interesting. It's put together back-to-back strong efforts, the 6.
Yeah, but it's had a lot of chances. The last race, the best figures he ever ran. Give him that.
Here's Ever Do It. Kevin Rice trains.
I actually thought he was interesting turning back. Kevin Rice is only 1 for 16 turning back on the dirt. But you know me, I love a turn back.
And then the huge maiden claiming winner, 93 Beyer speed figure in that win last time out. Back to Oaklawn, 7th race. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman.
We're ready to go. And Laroff. Good start from Roman Giant, who's aggressively ridden, but Colorful Native is quicker. Colorful Native striding to the front and opens up 2. Colorful Native to the fence now, only a length in front. His Pressure picks up the running in the second spot. Roman Giant alongside of him. Fire Bryant to the inside. Then comes Shuffle Dance. Is off the speed today. She's running 3 lengths behind with City of Clouds. Just Battle off that pair into the far turn run. She's a length better than Super Constitution. Husker Butch is second to last. And Dog Red can see them all as they round the far turn. Colorful Native in charge at 65-1. About a half length in front. Roman Giant sent after him from the second position. Pressures 3 wide. Shuffle Dance and the 4 path attempting to get closer from there. City of Clouds is creeping in towards the front runners, looking for a spot to go now. As they swing off the turn, the others have got to get going. Down the lane, Pressure on the far outside, comes away with the lead. Roman Giant's alongside. Colorful Native is backed out. Shuffle Dance is charging down the outside. Has to quicken, though. There's a 16th to go. Roman Giant, Pressure in a slugfest, and Roman Giant is resilient on the inside. Roman Giant earned the win. Pressure second home, had all the chance to win it, but was second best. Third Shuffle Dance, and then City of Clouds.
Roman Giant out-dueling Pressure for the victory and a tight finish. Francisco Arrieta aboard.
And I got to say, it's a big move. This horse ran second for 10,000, moved up to 20, and gets it done. And frankly, his trainer, Dwayne Loy, I'm not familiar with him, but he's in pretty good meet. This is his 4th win, at least at the meet. Not bad. Not a horse I could have had.
Sophomore stakes to come at Tampa, but it's back to New York. Nightcap coming up. 7 furlongs. New York Breds, maiden special weight. There's part of the entry. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Well, guys, this kind of field just reminds me that summer is right around the corner, and this is a very good-looking field of New York bred maidens. I'm really excited about what we see out in the racetrack from them, because it feels like there's several in here that could have talent. Now, Silver Satin, he is your favorite, as he was last time in his debut. No problems with him. He looks fit. He looks ready to go. But let's check in with the Randy Hill entry in here. I like number 1, Big Ego. A mile is a tough race to debut at. He was prominent throughout, made this wide move around the field, and while St. Gaudens disappointed earlier on in this card, Quiet Wisdom did come back and improve his Beyer with an 83, and this guy just looked like he needed that race mentally and physically last time. He is so much more focused today. He is more fit, and I like a little less ground for him as he travels the 7 furlongs. Moving on to his entry mate, that is number 1A, Russian Realm, breaking from the outside of the field. A Son of Constitution, it is more turf on the bottom, and I can kind of see that. And furthermore, he just looks like a horse that might want to race. He's just a little green, he's a little soft, but boy, is he attractive. He is very, very good looking. Take the wait and see approach with him, though, today. Moving on to another firster, that's number 6, Shlomo. He's taking some money as Lee Einseidler, his owner and breeder, cleverly named him Sigmund Shlomo Freud. I thought that was pretty good, Lee. Not much pedigree to report home on, though this guy for a Bill Mott firster, sometimes Bill's horses physically look like they need a start. He looks really fit. I mean, he is the fittest looking of the debuters in here, really well defined. I question mark the 7/8, though, first time out. He gives me the impression that he would have been better at 6. And then there's a horse coming off of a layoff. That's a 13 on the outside who I think is a big price right now at 11-1. Yo Banana Boy, if he runs his first race that he did here in defeat back in September of last year, he could be a handful. And he was very aggressive in the prelims in that debut. He's a lot more calm, a lot more settled today. We'll see if he shows the speed that he did in that first race. And last time, you know, it was a tougher field, obviously, against a talented field and a sloppy track 2 back. He looks fit. He looks ready to go. I think he's very interesting at a price, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. We'll get back to it. Well, the post parade coming up. They are loading at Tampa. And Sugar Boy, first U.S. start. Coming up, let's go to Rajiv. What can we expect here from Sugar Boy, first time in the U.S.?
Well, if the tote board is any indication of what the connections expect of him, he's getting bet really heavily. And he has there's a big crowd here for him with the ownership group. However, I don't really like him. He's getting really hot on the track. He's showing a lot of nervous energy. He has a bad post position being on the inside for his first try against a big group of horses in America. And he's not the most physically strong looking horse. He's more on the thin, narrow side. So I don't really see anything that I like about this horse as much as they're betting him right now. And moving on to number 8, Saybrook. This is a horse that I'm really interested in. He ran a huge number last time, a 93 buyer, first time with Lasix, first time with blinkers. Unfortunately today, because it's a stake race, he had to take off the Lasix because you're not allowed to run with Lasix in stakes. But he's a horse that I really like. Also, I like the number 2, Squints.
Yeah, Greg and I are both a little in the 7 on the turn back here. Ever do it? He's a ridiculous price at 17-1.
Great appearance for Kevin Rice. Saybrook, though, finally starting to take money off that monster maiden claiming win. It's the sophomore from Tampa Bay. Let's go to Jason Beam.
Saybrook and Jose Batista to the outside draw, goes up and in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Ocala Breeders' Sales Sophomore Stakes. Pretty good start for Sugar Boy down toward the inside. In between horses, Snow Name is right there. Jigsaw and Saybrook up from the outside. Snow Name and Saybrook, those are the two that go on best. Jigsaw just in behind them. Sugar Boy was out 4th down toward the inside, a half length in front of Pure Class. Those two in the blue colors, 4th and 5th. It's another length back to Ever Do It. Bandit Rocket. Squints is the early trailer. Saybrook and Snow Name hook up early on. On the outside, Saybrook just in front of Snow Name. The opening quarter, 22 1/5 seconds. Sugar Boy tugs up between horses. Jigsaw right to that one's outside. The top 4 only separated by about a length and a half. It's a length and a half more then. Back to Ever Do It, who starts to move up on the outside to put a nose into 5th. Pure Class is 6th. Squints is out of last. Bandit Rocket. But the 8 of them only covered by 5 lengths. Is Saybrook still the leader? Saybrook just in front, a half length to Jigsaw in 2nd. Sugar Boy pushed along from 3rd to the inside after a 45-1 opening half mile. Saybrook still the leader. Saybrook to the quarter pole in front by a length and a half. Sugar Boy trying to come through inside. Now going to come out to the 2 path as Jigsaw fades back to 3rd. Ever Do It starting to rally up on the outside. Saybrook into the stretch. The lead's about a length. Getting closer now. Sugar Boy, though. Sugar Boy on the outside of Saybrook. These two on level terms. Pure Class erupting from out of the field. Here comes Pure Class and Paco. Pure Class hits the front. Sugar Boy back to 2nd. Ever Do It down the outside. Pure Class going to go on to win it here at 7-1. Sugar Boy is 2nd, 3rd. Ever Do It 4th with Saybrook.
Pure Class comes on late. Now back-to-back wins, 3 wins in the last 4 starts.
Yeah. He backed up his last race. Big price last time. And a decent price again today. Gets it done. It felt like Sugar Boy was getting the right trip and he was going to run to his odds. But he couldn't finish and hold this horse off. Number 7, Ever Do It. It was too big a price in there. Did run a decent 3rd. He outran his odds, but not good enough. And I don't think Saybrook ran back to his 93 unless they saw a couple of hundred and changes there.
Funny. The only defeat the last 4 starts for this horse was by a horse who won a Triple Crown prep.
There you go, Hades. That's right. Running the Florida Derby on Saturday. Good call. after the race, Greg.
You're welcome. Back to New York. Finale on this Sunday card. 7 furlongs to close out this New York bred maiden special weight. And there's one of the many contenders in here. That's the 13, Yo Banana Boy, who has been off since the end of his 2-year-old campaign, late November. 3-year-old debut coming up. His first start was actually very good.
No, his first start was very good. And, you know, then he caught a sloppy seal track, and then he stumbled to start, and something went wrong. Now, he's got to get 7, and this is a wildly tough race. I picked the race 9-1. I have Maggie Soar second. Into the 9. The number 9 in this race, Wesley Ward horse. Something went wrong with him switching leads, being on the wrong lead in the backstretch, and Jose Gomez looked to be easing this horse in the turn, and he sort of straightened things out, and then he gave him a little crack in the stretch, and he was on a good rail, but he really took off. And I think if you watch this replay, you'll agree he was a favorite to be last around the turn. So I think he is better in that effort, but he's going to have to be better there because this is a very competitive race. And the reality is the favorite, the 4, is his last race is legit. And we saw the horse who beat him, Todd Pletcher's horse, come back to win earlier today. This is one heck of a race.
Yeah, That's Money was impressive earlier on in the card, a race that we showed you early on in our coverage. 2 for 2 now for Todd Pletcher. Silver Satin was just behind him in that debut. He was actually favored in that race, Silver Satin, who's the 9-5 favorite.
Yeah, and I won't be surprised when he wins today. He ran one. Listen, like we said, he beat a horse that came back and won.
Meanwhile, another horse that was in that same race, St. Gaudin, who was the favorite, Big Ego, faced him first time out. And never easy to go a mile in the debut. That's what he was trying to do.
And he really tried him on the turn. He really came after him. So even though he finished 4th, there's a very good argument he ran the second best race. And the 3rd finisher did come back to win this week, even though St. Gaudin's lost.
Prices there, pure class from Tampa Bay. And the sophomore, $16.20. Sugar Boy's U.S. debut, a runner-up. First defeat of his career. Closing out this card here in New York, there's Silver Satin, the favorite. Manny Franco looking for his 3rd win on this Sunday program, teaming up with Jorge Abreu on this 3-year-old by Matoli. And meanwhile, you have a little interesting, did you think, with Vinsanto, the 11 here?
I agree. I think that Vinsanto is a little bit interesting in this race. Cutting back, new gelding. He's got races that are okay. He's another player in here. This is a very, very interesting race. Now, listen, it has a favorite. It is the horse to beat. But any of these horses, the 1, the 9 just took a big pump. He went down from 8-1 or so to 5-1. So maybe it's just like the stake race. Though his wouldn't be a form reversal.
No, it would not. And, you know, the entry, we talk about Big Ego, the other half of the entry, that bullet drill, 59-3, 5-furlong move.
This is a big turf pedigree. I'll be looking for that horse to go to the turf in a subsequent start.
That's Russian Realm. It's going to break 3rd to the outside. Chris Griffin with the finale on this Sunday program from Aqueduct. Let's go upstairs.
Here's Shlomo stepping forward. Also, final denial. Got a rider off there, Russian Realm, the 1A. Katie Davis gets back aboard.
So 9-horse last drink, breaking through, not getting very far away at all. So it should be no harm, no foul.
Cancel my bet on him.
I wouldn't be too concerned.
Not happy. I'll leave it in. I didn't bet enough to care enough.
Jose Gomez for Wesley Ward. Horse who got bet in the debut back in January. And just kind of a strange run from him that day. See if you get better second time out for the Wesley Ward runner.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lot better than that. I wish the rail wasn't gold that day. If it hadn't been a gold rail, I would love the 9 in here. But the fact he was on a rail that was really helpful, I think that lessens it. But it is a very strange race. Anybody that watched it will agree. It's a very strange running line.
Heavy favorite, 6-5 now. Price just keeps getting shorter on Silver Satin, the 4. With Manny Franco for Jorge Abreu, the 7 about to step in. Perno, long shot for Melanie Giddens. And here's a 13, Yo Banana Boy, very interesting. And faced, that really good debut. Had to deal with Carbone the last time he was on the racetrack, who we saw in the Hot Springs the other day. Talented runner who was on the Triple Crown Trail briefly. His first start back of his 3-year-old campaign. Let's go upstairs again to Chris Griffin.
Perno's in. Here's Yo Banana Boy. and Landoro. Landoro goes in. All set. 8th and final. A little unsettled here towards the inside. And they're off. Yo Banana Boy right out towards the front with early speed. Also right there is going to be Big Ego to join this runner. Perno joins that early mix. Those three across the racetrack. Settling off of them, last drink is the gray, with Silver Satin moving through to the inside of that rival as they progress up the backstretch. Out wider there comes Landoro's now in the 6th position. At the rail is Tamakan making up quick ground. Shlomo is in that group as well as they join those leaders. It's a gap of another 5. Back to Final Denial is towards the tail end of the field now with In On It, very strung out here as they get set to move into the far turn. Russian Realm is back there. Same thing can be said for Vincenzo, Hagrid's Flame, far back with Road Soda. Well into the far turn and 22 and 4 tightly bunched. At the rail there is Big Ego. Yo Banana Boy is a neck in front. Rallying on, here comes Shlomo, and Shlomo is making a 3-wide move. Silver Satin is chasing now as well. Trying to make up some ground as Landoro still tightly bunched here as they get set to reach the top of the stretch. 46.445 for the half-mile time. And at the rail there it's Big Ego. In between horses, Yo Banana Boy. 3 wide is Shlomo. Trying to join them is Silver Satin in the purple cap. And on the far outside, Russian Realm is putting together a rally. Same can be said for Landoro. Anyone's race here as they approach that final 16th. Silver Satin trying to fend off the oncoming strides of Landoro. Landoro up on the outside. Landoro gets up for the victory. It's Landoro who wins it over Silver Satin. Then came Russian Realm, followed by Shlomo in 1 minute 24 seconds flat.
Was that the number 2B getting in off the also eligible to save the entry and knock a lot of people out in the multi-race bets, getting it done. Landoro, who had lost to St. Gaudens first time and took no money, gets the job done, making the last move. They were moving up front in this race, and this race essentially collapsed. Actually, it was a good effort by Shlomo, the first-time starter, and the number 4 had to straighten his way out in the stretch, or maybe Silver Satin, if he hadn't been in trouble, would have got the money. But it was Landoro getting in off the also eligibles to get the win with, I want to say, Matty Alver, 14-1. Tough beat if you needed the 4 in there.
2B4, 1A6, Landoro. Yeah, Matty Over aboard for that win at a big price to close out the Sunday card here in New York.
Considerably faster paces than we saw in either the stake race or in today's 6th race. Both much better horses. They were moving up front.
All right, well, these prices for you when we come back is... You got one more segment with me, right?
I'd be happy to leave, but I think I have one more segment.
I'm going to keep you around. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Back on America's Day at the races, and in the sophomore back at Tampa Bay, pure class on quite a roll right now. 3 wins the last 4 starts.
Yeah, nice ride, nice trip, gets it done over the Puerto Rican Flash. And you know what? The money on the one was legit.
Yeah.
Norris got a good trip, but still ran very, very well to take the beat in there. The 9 just didn't run back to that huge figure, and it just makes you ask yourself, where the heck did it come from? The 8, excuse me. I don't know why there's 9 horses.
So pure class.
Probably misnumbered it, that's why.
Paco Lopez for David Fox. With the victory pays $16.20. Sugar Boy, productive U.S. debut.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we hear more from him down the line.
We'll hear more from Raj, though.
We will indeed.
And the Gator. And Maggie.
With the Pleasant Acres Stallions Distaff Turf up next, mile on the 16th on the grass. Sweet Danny girl, Christophe Clement, will try and make it 3 in a row.
I have nothing to say about her, but she's pretty good. I know that. I just didn't look at the race. Sorry.
Mohawk Trail, 9-5 as well. Got a big figure last time out in the Grade 3. Honey Fox faced some very tough competition. Looks like it might be between those two. Back in New York, in from the also eligible list, Landoro, Matty Olver, Christophe Clement wins second time out.
Yeah, and got the pace to run at. And Maddie, nice win for Maddie, who's won a few races here since losing her bug. And you get the pace set up, and she got that clean outside run. You see how she moves out. The 4 was behind horses, tried to come through, and did get out and make the clear run. Not able to hold her off, but still a tad unlucky to lose in both of her starts. 1A was motoring down the track. Shlomo ran extremely well because he attacked the pace more than any of these, and they were moving up front. Well, Lee wasn't wrong. He liked Shlomo, and he ran well, just not well enough.
Yeah, Leanne Seidler with that horse checking in there, what, in 4th, Shlomo?
Yeah, he came to visit us and didn't bring sandwiches. It's kind of unacceptable.
We owe him. He's been so good to us.
Without
We're getting spoiled.
I
we'll see if we may hear more from that horse down the line. That is it for you. It's weekend time for Andy Serling.
I am done. But I will see you on Thursday.
But you'll be watching the show on your way home.
On the subway. They always have it playing, actually. There's a TV now just dedicated to America's Day at the races. You haven't noticed that on the A train?
No, too busy doing my prep.
It's only on when you're not on. That's why, actually.
Going to be joined by Maggie Wolfadale after a timeout. We say goodbye to Andy. We'll talk more Triple Crown trails. We have big coverage coming up from Hot Springs next weekend. Grade 1 Arkansas Derby and Rebel winner Timberlake. Can he do it again for Brad Cox? We'll have a preview ahead.
Good Magic is off to a meteoric start at stud, having sired 2 Eclipse Award finalists in first crop Kentucky Derby champion Mage and second crop Grade 1 winning 2-year-old Muth. With just 2 crops to race, Good Magic ranked 21st on the general sire list with nearly $10 million in progeny earnings. Mage's graded stakes winning full brother Dornoch is one of the leading contenders for this year's Kentucky Derby. Good Magic, the classic sire.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
He's a running son of a gun.
Papa Cap now has the advantage.
A graded stakes winning 2-year-old. Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile runner-up at 2. Multiple Grade 1 placings at 3. Finished in the top 4 in 11 out of 12 starts.
And from here on in, it's just a matter of how far. Papa Cap, an easy winner of the best pal.
Papa Cap, standing at Walmack.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. And we have a beautiful day for the running of the Arkansas Derby.
This Saturday, the road to the Kentucky Derby heats up in Hot Springs, Arkansas. America's Day at the Races brings you expanded on-site coverage from Oaklawn Park, featuring the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. Don't miss all the action from 1 to 8 p.m. Eastern on FS2.
We have a beautiful day for the running of the Arkansas Derby. This Derby has been run at Oaklawn Park actually since 1936, when Hall Image picked up a purse of a little bit better than $4,000 as the winning end of the first Arkansas Derby here at Oaklawn. Well, times have changed.
Today's Arkansas Derby with a purse of $1.5 million.
And they're off in the Arkansas Derby.
We've got the finest horses in America running today, so this purse must tell something.
And they're off in the Arkansas Derby 2004. Smarty Jones leading by 2. And it's Smarty Jones 1 step forward to Kentucky. And they're off in the Arkansas Derby.
It's the Arkansas Derby.
They're off in the Arkansas Derby. He is indeed the ruler, American Pharaoh. Breathtaking and a mesmerizing performance as he dominates the Arkansas Derby.
The Arkansas Derby.
Oaklawn is proud to present the field for the 87th running of the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. And they're off. A perfect start to the 87th Arkansas Derby. Angel of Empire wins the Arkansas Derby and wins it clear.
Mr. Charles Sella, who is the president of the Oaklawn Jockey Club, and Charles is the member of the oldest racing management family in the United States. And Charles, this is a proud day for you and everyone associated with this track.
It certainly is, buddy, and a very happy Derby Day to you and to all of the people in Arkansas. We're putting on a program here today that I think is the finest racing in America.
Hard to believe our purses have increased so much, but that's getting the very finest horses in all of the country on the way to the Kentucky Derby.
The winner here this afternoon possibly will go on to win the Kentucky Derby.
The Arkansas Derby winner, and his name is...
That is coming up next weekend. 100-point race to the winner to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. Live coverage. We'll have it all day long, 1 to 8 Eastern on Fox Sports 2. On-site coverage, Lafitte, Paul, Rajiv. And I'm missing someone. Oh, yeah, Maggie Wolfendale, who joins me on set right here for the final, half hour of coverage. It's going to be a great weekend, obviously. That entire card is going to be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, definitely looking forward to it with the fantasy as well. You have the Oaklawn Mile, looking forward to that. And a showdown, it appears, between Muth and Timberlake.
Yeah, Muth, who's not going to be able to be eligible for Kentucky Derby points in the Bob Baffert barn, who still can't send horses to the Derby, but him showing up adds just extra intrigue to the race. Very talented horse. Of those outside who can earn points, though, Timberlake
Deserved.
Looks like the one, I mean, I'll say the ones who can earn points to beat off that Rebel win. Do you think he still has room to move forward?
I think so. That was his first race back going to the Rebel, and I thought he showed a mental maturity and improvement that we didn't necessarily see from him as a 2-year-old. He was able to rate, he was able to take kickback, he was more push button and easier to maneuver throughout the race. So I think that's a feather in his cap. Now Flavien Prat will take the reins this time around. And yes, it was somewhat workmanlike, but again, I thought really a effort to build off of coming in here for his first start as a 3-year-old. And I do think, as you kind of mentioned, there is that move forward in him. He has run 3 straight 93 Beyer speed figures, but again, a lot of times 3-year-olds, they do get faster.
Certainly a very good starting point for that 3-year-old campaign. He'll break from post 2. Muto showing up for Bob Baffert. Just adds extra intrigue to this race, and he has done a lot of good things early on in his career. Most recently, that victory coming back as a 3-year-old in the San Vicente out on the West Coast. What do you make of his chances?
Look, they both almost theoretically have a similar running style, but I do think that moves California speed, California racing, just a little bit faster. So he might be the one that is more forwardly placed. He's a little outwardly posted. Yeah, he's a nice horse. He ran very well behind Fierceness in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, I thought. But I've always kind of had a soft spot for Timberlake. He was like my 2-year-old of last year. So I do prefer Timberlake over him.
And we'll see. I mean, obviously, one of the biggest figures of any 3-year-old run is Mystic Dan. It was a wet track, though. He went up the inside that day. You want to see it repeated, certainly on a fast track. But if that's for real, he is a major player in this division.
His stride over that sloppy sealed racetrack was literally breathtaking. But good news for all the rest of us except Mystic Dan, is supposed to be gorgeous weather.
That is very good news, certainly for the group that's going to be going out there, you included. As we get back to live action on this Sunday card, this 8th from Oaklawn, 6-furlong sprint, $40,000 starter allowance, and Paparina. Ron Moquette, he's using Keith Asmussen quite a bit lately, and Keith was aboard on a maiden win last time out.
I thought, now the horse delivered, but Keith gave her an exceptional ride. She didn't break that well. She was coming off a little bit of a layoff. She had to break from the rail. She kind of got, pushed over a little bit. He let her settle, and then she just kind of cruised up into his hands. He let her develop into the race, saved as much ground as he possibly could, saw the seam, and pounced. And I can't argue with her being the favorite in here based upon that last effort, which, Ron Moquette, kind of clever. Entered her for the 40,000, got a second, then gives her a little bit of a break and is able to take advantage of this starter allowance condition with running for the tag first time out.
She's the 4 we're talking about. Paparina, kind of the new face off a maiden win. As we said it to Paulie, though, you have others in here that are multiple winners, including Paulie, Never Sway for Robertino Diodoro, coming off the 4th win of her career.
Yeah, and she was really impressive last time out. Now you wonder if she's going to be able to come off the pace, because I don't know if she's able to get to the front end. And Maggie just took the words out of my mouth about the 4 in here. Ron Moquette entered this horse for the maiden 40, thinking, okay, I'm not going to really get claimed. Surprised him a little bit, and then this horse won a maiden special weight by many. So Maggie's right, falls into the starter allowance, and the only horse in this race that basically broke the maiden and maiden special weight. But facing winners for the first time, that's the obstacle. I know they're going in the gate. I think the 5 is dangerous at 17-1. I think Ramon Vasquez is the most forward rider this filly has had. I think she gets to the front end. But I do think the 6 is in really good form right now and might be laying right outside. And I'm going to give the 1 the look. The 1 keeps putting up smallish type numbers, but 3 for 4 a lifetime knows how to find the winner's circle. But I'm going to go with a little bit of a flyer, the 5 here at 70-1. Try to take this field gate to wire.
Ollie, thanks. 9-5 favorite though, the 4 Paparina. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
We're ready to go. And Laroff, Pioneer Parade wins the start. Little Sister Sue out alert lead 2. These 2 right together. Here's Stay Fabulous between them, moving up to be close to the pace. Pioneer Parade with the lead. From in second, Stay Fabulous and Never Sway, who's parked outside of her. Little Sister Sue is plummeted back to midfield, pass by DN's 80 and Lady Commander on the outside. Paparina about 5 lengths off the pace, taking the 3rd last spot from Little Sister Sue, who's second to last. And Birdie's Cause will have to pass them all in a half-mile. She's got 7 to make up as they hit the 4-turn run. Pioneer Parade, the leader here, a half length. Never Sway comes out of the crowd to press her, and these 2 round the 4-turn with a 4-length lead. They've opened up on the rest. Deanne's 80 shaken up with Lady Commander. Then comes Stay Fabulous. Paparina's got to get going. Still has plenty of ground to make up, and she's set to log as they come to the top of the lane. Pioneer Parade down the lane. Never Sway on the outside, switching leads. They're still going at it here. Pioneer Parade with the upper hand. Never Sway second on the outside in the white blinkers. Gap of 3 back to the rest. Coming on late, Little Sister Sue and Paparina. Paparina trying to get to Pioneer Parade. And on the outside, Never Sway. Here comes Paparina. Paparina on the inside. Photo finish. Oh, wow. That was tight. Very tight. Pioneer Parade and Paparina like a rocket. And the photo for the win.
What is Paul LaDuca doing right now? Wow, did his long shot. Pioneer Parade, this 5, hang on regardless. Tremendous effort, but here comes the 4 up the fence.
I don't know. It's such a weird angle there. You're like so right on top of it, / a little bit behind the wire here, Greg. It's outside. Oh, she went 11-1 on top. I'm pretty sure. Again, it's a weird angle.
11-1 if it is the 5.
Well done, Paulie.
We'll keep you posted. As I'm not sure where that winner comes out. It
Me
looked like
neither.
she got
It's
it.
so tough. It does.
He's got the best eyes, really, of anyone. We'll go back to Paulie in a moment. Here's Sweet Danny Girl back at Tampa Bay for this Acres Stallions Distaff Turf.
Yeah, she's a defending champ from last year, though now she's going out for Christophe Clement as she's looking for her 3rd win in a row. Easily handled Florida Breds 2 back.
She just beat this one 2 starts ago, Charlie's Wish.
But Charlie's Wish only has the 1 start on the turf, and it was good.
She also beat this one, Baby Steps, who's put together back-to-back very good efforts.
She likes to lead, but I don't think she clears off here, Greg.
Really?
No, I think the 5's faster.
Time, passage, speed routing.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean.
By the way,
yeah.
5 did hang on at Oaklawn.
Excellent,
Well done,
Paulie.
Paula Duca.
Well done.
Here's Pretty Keen at 38-1.
Yeah, I can't. I'm pretty keen not to bet her.
Well put. Yeah, there's not a lot to recommend. And then Mohawk Trail, actually a good effort at grade 3 last time out off the bench.
I agree. She was restless in the gate. She wasn't standing correctly. She got away slowly, kind of taken out of her element because her previous efforts, she had been forward in those route races. As you said, faced a world of better horses, arguably, and really ran on well late.
So let's go back to January 14th. And Sweet Danny Girl, when she beat Baby Steps, Charlie's Wish, they were 1-2-3.
Yeah. So Baby Steps was setting the pace that day, and Sweet Danny Girl, she has good tactical speed. She got to save ground here beneath Rod Ortiz. Javier Castellano does take over, or should say back on her again. And Charlie's Wish is the one who got steadied back early. And I thought, actually, considering this race a little bit more forwardly dominated, Greg, ran pretty well.
Yeah, well, as a result of that, Baby Steps was able to get to the front that day. Could not hold off, though, the late charge of Sweet Danny Girl. She's going to make her presence felt regardless, you think, here late in this race.
Charlie's Wish or Sweet Danny Girl?
Sweet Danny Girl.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can even see it physically. She looks like a different class of horse. She's bigger, she's stronger, she easily dominates this field of fellow statebreds. But again, I give Charlie's Wish a little bit of credit because she had the trouble. It was her only turf start, so maybe she's a little less exposed. And she's, 5-1. I don't think she beats Sweet Danny Girl, Greg, but I just thought she deserved another shot here to make things close.
Let's send it back out to Rajiv. So those 3, Rajiv, go at it again, and we're going to see the same result.
Well, Maggie, I agree with you about the pace scenario here. I do think Time Passage will be up on the front end and challenging Baby Steps and even possibly being in front of Baby Steps. And here's the reason why. I was at Gulfstream for that filly and mare turf race, and prior to the race, Time Passage broke through the gate and ran off about a 1/4 of a mile before being apprehended and taken back to the gate. And that was the only time that she wasn't on the lead. She's really a one-trick pony. They have no way to go but try to take her to the front. Baby Steps did inherit the lead that day, but I thought that was situational because of what happened with Time Passage. Now I expect that there'll be a more contested pace, which won't benefit Baby Steps. And what I see happening is Baby Steps and Time Passage getting into a fast early pace, and Sweet Danny Girl being on the inside, sitting in 3rd. However, being a big favorite, Sweet Danny Girl, there's going to be a lot of targets on its back. So Javier is going to have to really time it right, not to get trapped inside, but not to move too early and end up flattening out late. So he's really has his hands full. I feel like Mohawk Trail, being on the outside, for some reason that you mentioned, didn't have the best trip last time. I think this horse is in a prime position to capitalize from a fast pace and potentially not so clear trip for Sweet Danny's Girl from the inside.
Raj, that's great stuff from you, noting that about Time Passage in that start, in that Sunshine Millions filly and mare turf. Do want to ask you, Mohawk Trail, she seemed, I don't want to say agitated. She looks really calm as they head to post, but she wasn't standing right. Going back to that Honey Fox, do you think her being on the outside helps her, A, and B, how has she been acting?
Yes, well, first of all, I do think being on the outside, less time in the gate will help any horse break better. Not
Oh, no. Okay.
All right, apologies. We'll try and get Raj back. We lost that audio right there as he was talking about that outside post for Mohawk Trail. It looked just coming off the bench last time out. That was a very productive effort and may get that pace to run into today.
And Chili Flag. I mean, I know she ran around here most of the summer. She's just kind of knocking on the door of being a great stakes performer, but she's really gotten good. And I just feel like, considering that was her first start in a while, her first start as a 4-year-old, how many times do we see horses really improve when going from 3 to 4? And if that number holds up in here, maybe she's the one with the target on her back, because that's a very good effort for her to build upon.
4 to 5 favorite. Sweet Danny Girl, we showed you beating Baby Steps Charlie's Wish 2 starts back January the 14th. She backed that up with another win against Open Company, and she'll try and make it 3 in a row here. Any final thoughts here, Raj, as they load up?
Yeah, I spoke with Kelsey Danner, the trainer of Mohawk Trail, and she mentioned that that wasn't an ideal trip last time coming off the layoff, and she sees like the horse has improved since that last race, so she's expecting a forward progression from that race. And honestly, she just needs to duplicate that to be a major player here.
See if she could do it. Raj, thanks. We're set for the Pleasant Acres Stallions Distaff Turf. Jason Beam, the call.
Mohawk Trail, Adam Biscuits into the outside gate to complete the line. Mohawk Trail in the orange colors of NBS Stable. Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on in the Pleasant Acres Stallions Distaff Turf. Baby Steps in the blue colors came away in good order. The favorite, Sweet Danny Girl, was away okay. And up to the outside comes Time Passage. So it's going to be Baby Steps in front of Time Passage. Those two, 1-2. As they come toward the wire the first time with 7/8 of a mile left to run. Charlie's Wish just in behind them is third. Pretty Keen in the light blue colors, fourth. Under a good hold. They don't look like they're in any hurry out there. Sweet Danny Girl back second last, and Mohawk Trail is the trailer as they have 6 furlongs left to go. And up front it's Baby Steps and Daniel Centeno. 23-3 the opening quarter mile. Baby Steps steps out now by 3.5. Time Passage content to sit back in second. It's a length more then. Back to Sweet Danny Girl, who moves up alongside of Charlie's Wish. They're right together, third and fourth. Length and a half more to Pretty Keen and Mohawk Trail, those two at the back. Up the back stretch, Baby Steps, still the leader. The lead is 4 lengths. Time Passage been second throughout here. So they got that opening half in 47 3/5 seconds. In behind them, Charlie's Wish in third. Sweet Danny Girl still on hold from fourth. About 6 off the top. It's a length and a half more then. Back to Pretty Keen and Mohawk Trail. It's been an unfettered lead here for Baby Steps. Baby Steps to the far turn. The lead whittled down a little bit, though, now. 2.5 lengths to Time Passage, who tries to close in from second. Charlie's Wish down on the inside is third. Sweet Danny Girl giving the cue fourth on the outside, just 3.5 behind. Baby Steps leads them. Charlie's Wish, Sweet Danny Girl out 3 deep. Mohawk Trail's made up some ground, going to move down toward the inside. Baby Steps cuts the corner just in front. Charlie's Wish now coming after her on the outside, and Charlie's Wish hits the front. Baby Steps back to second. Mohawk Trail trying to make up 2.5 in the final 16th of a mile. It's Charlie's Wish still there. Mohawk Trail surging on the outside. Charlie's Wish, another one for Paco. Charlie's Wish won it by 1/2 length. Mohawk Trail was second, long way back to Baby Steps. Sweet Danny Girl had to settle for fourth.
Charlie's Wish, just the second time on the turf in her 14-start career, and she gets the win.
As I said to you, why has she not been on the turf her entire career?
We'll be going forward after this.
I think so. I mean, look how well she moves over it, Greg. Look at her stride. She's pointing her toes. She's flicking them out. A much better trip for her today as opposed to that start 2 back, her first try on the turf. She was more forwardly placed and prominent with Paco Lopez aboard, and really kind of a no-show effort. I couldn't really come up with any excuse for the favored one in here. I thought a good return as well with number 7, Mohawk Trail. Just that number 2, Charlie's Wish, got the jump on her.
Paco Lopez for David Fox, and Charlie's Wish with the victory in this Pleasant Acres Stallions Distaff Turf. We'll be back with the prices in a moment. Let's go back to Oaklawn. What a call, what a finish. It was a photo, and it did go to the 5. Pioneer Parade, nice call. Paul LaDuca, 11-1 here, I believe, on the 5. Ramon Vasquez for Aaron Shorter.
I mean, he said it. Paul said it. maybe a little bit of a murky pace situation, and noting that Ramon Vasquez is the most aggressive rider that she has had on her back, and he was spot on. She was able to hold off all late challengers, including the favorite, Paparina, who did make it very close rallying up the rail.
Looks like all of a sudden it's dicey here up the fence. Keith Asmussen, but no, Pioneer Parade able to hang on for that win. 25-80. Again, good call. Pauly 5, 4, 6, 7 in the 8th from Oaklawn. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back when we return. We'll talk that 3-year-old Kentucky Derby picture and a New York bred heading to the UAE. Try and get those Derby points for that first Saturday in May. We'll talk Panda Gate for the Clement Barn when we come back on our Sunday coverage here on Fox Sports 1 of America's Day at the Races. Back with you on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Florida Cup Day coverage continues from Tampa Bay, and some Naira Bets VIPs enjoying the tremendous stakes action and beautiful weather. Getting to shake hands with Raj as well.
I mean, these lucky people. And thank you for supporting Naira Bets, of course. That First Lady certainly was well matched with the Naira Bets logo with the lime green shirt on. But good for Raj. Great ambassador. I'm sure these VIPs really excited to meet the legend that is Reggie Mirage.
Where I didn't realize this, too. We talked about it in the meeting, and Raj said at the top of the show, too.
20,
I think it was 21 years ago. Got his
yes,
first ever
his first
win
at Tampa. I thought that
Bay.
was really cool. A little homecoming for him.
How about this effort from Charlie's Wish? Just the second try ever on turf. First time was in stakes action. Third behind Sweet Danny Girl. This time Sweet Danny Girl that won. Really not putting in the performance we're used to, and Charlie's Wish takes advantage.
Yeah, and a much cleaner trip. Greg, first time she tried the turf, 2 back. She got steady back early and just, too little. I don't want to say too little too late, just was behind the 8 ball. This time, good ride by Paco Lopez, getting her a little bit closer, and she really enjoyed running over the turf from what I could see. This daughter of First Dude out of the Warblin mare, Superior Sarah.
And Mohawk Trail, that was just the second off the bench.
Yeah.
Had that outside post, or maybe with a better post Throw it off the bench. One to watch next time?
Absolutely. Probably get 3 to 5.
How about this payout? Cross country pick. Yeah, exactly. 9,693. Mish was a free square. It was basically a pick 4. Not bad.
Well done.
If you had that, congratulations. Very nice return. Triple Crown Trail. We're going to see a New York bred.
Are you excited?
Head to the UAE Derby on our World Cup coverage. We'll have live coverage beginning 8 a.m. on Fox Sports 2 next Saturday. What a day that is.
Did you draw the straw to do that? To do the test studio at 8 in the morning?
I will not be here at 8 in the morning. I will be here at noon.
Noon, that's right. Okay.
For the golden hour.
Golden hour. Lovely. All right.
I look forward to it. That is so. First of all, you're going to be with the team out in Hot Springs. We're on till 8 Eastern that night, till 8 a.m., basically till 8 Eastern. It's going to be packed start to finish, so pace yourself next Saturday. What about this New York bred, winner of the Gander last time out for Christophe Clement, heading overseas?
Yeah, and complimented, I mean, might be apples to oranges here, but the Big Torpedo, who does finish last in this race, and Liberty Central finishing 3rd, they ran 2-3 earlier on in an A other than for New York breds, though he's going to have to take on a pretty talented Japanese runner. Christophe Clement citing that the distance, the purse money, a distance of around 3/16 of course, and the purse money being quite lucrative attracted them to shipping a horse who has done little wrong in his inexperienced career so far.
It's just strange because you don't see horses come out of that race, have success in the Triple Crown. If they really felt this horse was a true Triple Crown viable candidate,
when they
this
stay
probably
for the
might
wood,
not be the spot they go, is it?
I agree with you. Again, you know, horses can take you anywhere in life, and also maybe it's kind of an experience thing. Why not with a horse that you think could be competitive, have the experience of going to Dubai, which is, from all reports, never been there before, but amazing.
New York bred headed to the UAE. Here's Christophe Clement on Pandagate.
It's a man 3/16 and he stays, so we don't have that many races going long on dirt. And, you know, whenever you start to go marinate or more on dirt in the States at that time of the year, they're very tough racers. So we might as well go to Dubai. There's a tremendous amount of prize money. But it's fun. He's very leggy. That's why he's got that beautiful long stride. But he's a fun horse to train. He's very willing. He's very good mentally. He's very straightforward, really. I think he came out of the Gander in good order. We shipped him all the way back to Florida, so it's tough because we had to deal with the race plus the trip. But he took it well, and he won very well at Aqueduct. He beat easily whatever he had to beat that day. The next race will be a much tougher field. It's going to be a lot more competitive. But I think it's time to take another challenge and see what happens.
Yeah, you look at the Gander, he got an 86 buyer in that win. That was just the 3rd start of his career. It was his first start as a 3-year-old. It is not that far off some of the best 3-year-olds who have major Kentucky Derby aspirations.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you mentioned, it is a difficult spot to come into the Derby. And yes, it is a spot that Christophe Clement chose. It does feel a little strange because coming here, winning, going back to Florida, then going overseas, it's a lot, but apparently he is a really well-minded horse.
See how it pans out.
I'm wishing them best of luck.
No question. It makes it much more exciting for us to have a New York bred there on that card in that UAE Derby. We're going to get, again, our coverage starts at 8 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning, Dubai World Cup. Terrific day of racing, and then Arkansas Derby Day. This young lady will be on site with Paulie, Lafitte,
like 77 and sunny. So.
And Rajiv. They deserve good weather for a big day.
They really do.
Nightcap still to come from Hot Springs. They're going to close things out with a 6-furlong sprint and Arkansas breds in a maiden claiming race, all trying to get that first win of their career. Wide open betting race. We'll have the post parade next.
is America's original sport. And no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. And we have a beautiful day for the running of the Arkansas Derby.
This Saturday, the road to the Kentucky Derby heats up in Hot Springs, Arkansas. America's Day at the Races brings you expanded on-site coverage from Oaklawn Park, featuring the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. Don't miss all the action from 1 to 8 p.m. Eastern on FS2.
Mage digs down deep, urged onto the wire to win the Derby!
Good Magic continues to impress as a Stallion. 2023 Kentucky Derby winner Mage is from the first crop of champion Good Magic. With Mage's victory, Good Magic joins Triple Crown legend Gallant Fox as the youngest sire of a Kentucky Derby winner at age 8. Both did it with their first crop. Good Magic is the son of champion Curlin. Today, both call Hillendale at Alapa home. The Stallion Barn has a roster of world-class stallions up and down Shed Row. As outstanding as Good Magic's first crop has performed, farm owner John Sakura had high expectations well before his initial crop was ready to race.
Blazing sevens by 3 lengths.
His crop has been well received. Well, more importantly, it's been very well received at the 2-year-olds and training sale. That's usually more indicative of people's opinion because you're closer to the racetrack. They're watching them gallop, they're watching them breeze.
Chad Brown trained Good Magic during his racing career. He remembers his professionalism from the day he arrived at Saratoga.
You know, Good Magic was always a very sound horse, very precocious, good temperament, easy to train. Right when he came in the barn early in his 2-year-old year, he identified himself as really the best prospect we had. Really from the first work, those really special horses that have remarkable talent identify themselves really early on. And from that point forward, he never disappointed us in a workout. Breeders' Cup Juvenile race was really special. I thought he ran outstanding and really identified himself as the clear leader of the division going into the winter.
Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
A good feeling to have as a trainer when you have the winter time favorite for the Derby going into next year, and I'm happy that he showed up the right way in the race.
Justify and Good Magic start to pull away from the others.
And to have the constitution to get out of that grueling Derby and come back and win a race like the Haskell showed just how consistent and how strong and durable he was.
But the champ is back! Good Magic in a good-looking performance.
You know, I buy a lot of horses for clients, and I bought several Good Magics. They look to be much like him. Wonderful temperament, precocious enough, but they really finish their works and gallop out like horses that are going to do better as they go longer on dirt, and that's really what I'm looking for.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races. What a beautiful property that is. Proud to have them as the sponsor, Hillendale at Alapa. So we had set for this nightcap coming up in Hot Springs, and a 6-furlong sprint close out the week at Oaklawn Park. These Arkansas-bred maiden claimers, they can be difficult to handicap.
They can be very difficult to handicap. This one, pretty intriguing. We see 3-1 on Amazing Success. First off, a claim for Norm McKnight, who does not have good numbers with this move.
Here's Bet on Tiz. Big price from the rail, second start.
Took a little money, though. It was wired by the 3-1 favorite that day, and it's getting a huge price this time around.
Good effort from this horse off a long layoff. Naderade.
Yeah, and 2, exactly, can move forward from that. Maybe he's a new horse now as a 4-year-old.
Amazing success. Couple of in-the-money finishes against similar.
First after the clean with maidens, Norm McKnight is 3 for 35.
Blinkers go on Preacher's Kid.
Kind of made a belated run between. Blinkers might help him move forward.
Clear Echo was 62-1 first out.
Very green early, dwelt the start, made a little bit of a run up the rail, dropping now.
Jaeger's Strategy, anything to see here to endorse?
Jaeger makes me think of my old pony.
25-1. At least there's something there. String Theory, first timer for Ron Moquette.
Yeah, Dan was a 7-time winner. Only 1 winner in 4 foals, though.
Safety at 32-1, second time out.
Another one that dwelt at the start. It's going to have to break to be involved.
Getty's Revenge, first time starter.
First starter for Serengeti, though the dam was a multiple Archie Bred Stakes winner.
Classic Cinema at 10-1 here, Terry Brennan.
I thought this horse was interesting, Greg. Had massive amount of speed first time out, just got tired and started lugging in and didn't switch leads in the lane. Could improve second time out.
And do not forget the also eligible draws in and drops in class as well. Hey, you look at me.
Hey, look at me. Yeah, as you said, dropping in class, kind of an even run last time out. Certainly could move forward.
All right, let's get it out to Paulie. Your thoughts on this finale to close things out?
Well, you know, this is a tough race. These Arkansas-bred races are really tough. You know, in this morning when I wrote the race down, I had the race 2-5, 12-13. Now, the 12 got scratched out of the race. So we'll start with the 5 Preacher's Kid. And I know Greg Compton's always liked this horse. And he put Christian Torres on. Usually when he puts Christian on, look at the percentage. They're 45%. They usually rock and roll. So I think Christian staying aboard the 5 here and the blinkers going on might help. And, you know, I know the horse did not run well on a dry track first time, but getting on a dry track, you just never know. I think you're getting the right price if you do like the 5 Preacher's Kid. Now, the 13 on the outside is the lowest will pays in every pick 3, pick 4, and pick 5. And this horse draws in for Rocco Bowen and Timothy Martin. You know, when you're the lowest will pay and the trainer is 1 for 92, and there's nothing against Timothy because he's a good trainer. Him and Kim Poole, they won about 10 races here last year, both. They've just been a little bit unlucky, a lot unlucky. But when you're 1 for 91 and you're getting bet like this, I would think the 13 is live as can be in here. I ended up on the 2, Naderade. The horse has had some issues out of the gate, and the crazy part is, he's kind of a small little horse. You would think the gate wouldn't be an issue. I wonder if he gets a little timid in there a little bit, but I liked his last race. Thomas Van Berg is such a good conditioner. I don't understand why the 3 is 4-1. If that horse wins, he wins. I get it. I just think the 2 at 4-1 is great value. But again, Greg, the money coming in on the 13, and also, I can't go remiss without saying this: the 8 String Theory, the only first-time starter that's taken money in here for Ron Moquette with a bullet drill at 7-1. But the 13 taking all this money into the 2 and 3 is kind of crazy. But I'm going to stick with the 2.
There is the 2. Paul, I'm with you. I like Naderade a lot. That was a big effort for this level off as long a way this horse was to get up, get second. I think you're going to see improvement today. 7-2 right now.
Yeah, ran the fastest figure last time out, too. Naderade, throwing some haterade. That was really bad, sorry.
See if it's picture time coming up. But, I mean, obviously the 13 you have to pay attention to with the drop in class.
Yeah,
take a look at the upcoming road to the Derby. You're going to be on hand, of course, for that Arkansas Derby next Saturday with our coverage from 1 to 8 Eastern. 100-point races, here they are. So this is going to complete the picture heading into that first Saturday in May.
And Greg, we'll be on hand for the Wood Memorial.
Yes, we will. Can't wait. As for the Arkansas Derby, you know, we talked about Timberlake a little while ago in the program, 9-5. That Rebel win, that was his first win around 2 turns, so he answered that question and still was a little green in the stretch.
Yeah, he was. Once kind of Christian got him straightened off, though, I thought he leveled out nicely in the last few strides. I appreciate that. Here is Mystic Dan, Just Steel, and Liberal Arts. Mystic Dan, I mean, Brian Hernandez, my hat's off to you. Look at this horse's stride. There's no wasted action over this sealed surface, and you can see the rail is the tightest part of the track. You know, there's no lying water on it either, Greg. So, yeah, he's going to be doing a rain dance, but so far the forecast says no rain for you, buddy.
It's amazing. I mean, you say, well, maybe just that wet track moved him up to, and obviously got a great trip. Second start of his career, going 5 furlongs. He got a 96 buyer.
There's talent. There is talent, but I know he won going away from that field. I really struggle with him being effective as the distances get longer.
All right, we'll see if he can prove you wrong next weekend. Live on-site coverage again, Lafitte, Paul Rajiv, and Maggie for Arkansas Derby Day. And was just told, too, Last Samurai is going to come back.
Oh,
in the
wow.
Oaklawn Mile.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
How old is he now? Well, I guess he's only 5.
No, I think
6.
I think he's 6. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right, loading up for this finale. 13-horse major player. Hey, look at me. You're going to wind up where?
I do like I'm a little interested in the 11. Little speed.
Classic Cinema, yes, speed and backed up in that first start.
It's a little bit of a shot in the dark. Your horse, Naderade, you and Paul like him.
You got the right rider, Ramon Vasquez. He will be aggressive. Matt Dinnerman to close out this Sunday card from Oaklawn.
Classic Cinema. Two back. Clear Echo. Classic Cinema will be the last one to load in. They've already loaded in. Hey, look at me. Here's Classic Cinema. We're ready to go in the finale. And Leroff in the nightcap. Classic Cinema popped out of the gate, wastes no time, gets to the fence, and leads the way. Opens up about 2 lengths in the early stages. Preacher's Kid, amazing success across the track. Safety's there. Hey, you look at me. 4 paths off the rail, a joint second. 1.5 lengths to Clear Echo. Another 3 lengths to Naderade. Bet on Tiz to the inside. And Getty's Revenge, who's 3 wide. String Theory second to last. Yeager's Strategy well off. A fast tempo here. Classic Cinema went 21 3/5 seconds. Rocketing around the far turn, still 2 ahead. Preacher's Kid in the second position. Amazing success third, sent along from there. Hey, you look at me. Also pushed upon, tries to advance position. A gap of 4 lengths back to safety. Then comes Clear Echo, who's losing position. Naderade's getting to the race nicely. Naderade catches the eye, is moving up as they come to the top of the lane. Classic Cinema, after that fast pace, begins to struggle. Naderade on the outside is charging after that front runner. Classic Cinema has another furlong to get. Naderade on the outside charging. Classic Cinema, Naderade on the grandstand side. Naderade to the front, and Naderade will win it. Naderade and Carlos Barbosa over Hey Ya Look at Me, who outfinishes Classic Cinema for second. String Theory was 4th across the line in the nightcap at Oaklawn.
Naderade comes and gets that speedster. Nice call. That horse ran a good race, but Naderade comes and gets him second off the bench.
Yeah, Naderade just poised and well done. Tom Vanberg having an excellent meet in a somewhat limited amount of horses that he's run. And he ran back to his last race. So congratulations to those connections and you guys as well.
Yeah, nice call. Pauly, both like Naderade here. 2, 13, 11. 7-2 on Naderade. Second off the bench for Thomas Van Berg.
Take it.
To close things out.
The fastest race last time, like just saying hi, hello.
I want to quickly, we have a little bit of time left of the show, just go back to yesterday, what we saw from First Mission. Is that horse, does he have the ability to be a major player in this older horse division?
On that effort, yes. But I feel like sometimes you get maybe a little bit of a subpar effort. I don't think he's a horse that necessarily loves kickback, which we saw in the Pegasus World Cup. And he's a horse that Florent Giroux really, was aggressive with, got him out towards the front end in the clear, and it really paid off. And he delivered beautifully. So, yes, I do think he is a horse that in a division, in the handicap division, that feels a little just kind of lost at the moment.
Wide open. We don't have a star yet.
We'll see what happens Saturday in the Dubai World Cup.
Yep. And, of course, at Oaklawn as well.
Yep.
A lot is going to play out next weekend. Again, our early coverage next Saturday, Dubai World Cup Day, begins at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And then our coverage that includes the Arkansas Derby, 1 Eastern to 8 Eastern on Saturday. We are back on Thursday. Fox Sports 2. Coverage begins 3 Eastern. We will see you then. Stonewall Star taking the Biagio's Rose. What a reversal of form, taking the blinkers off. Mish, dominant in the Naira Bets sprint, just too good for that group. Trevor Super And the Turf Classic on Florida Cup Day, winning yet again, and Charlie's Wish has found a new home on the grass with this performance. We'll see you Thursday, 3 Eastern start time on FS2.